Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Vault Excel. This commentary is pertaining to Javon Major and Sandy Broussard, and also Family Care Mortuary out of Bay City, Texas. There are a lot of allegations circulating that many people in the area of Texas have been defrauded by this couple and also Family Care Mortuary. My guest this evening is Jefferson Elite Mortuary Transport LLC. And this gentleman has had his itinerary stolen by Mr. Major. He has taken his videos and put them onto his IG page as if they are his. And this gentleman here says they do not belong to him. And he has also had a brief conversation with Mr. Major and was blocked by him. I'm going to play the latest person who's been scammed by Mr. Major and Broussard. And KPRC2 Click Houston is the source. Thank you for joining me.
So I'm Keith Garvin.
Good evening, I'm Daniela Guzman. Well, that woman reached out to KPRC2 after seeing our story on the arrest of these two people. Investigators say the two lied about being licensed funeral directors. KPRC2's Roll One Belogan live in Northeast Houston, where the daughter missed her dad's first service. Roll One.
Now, Daniela, Keith, good evening. There were two services for the father you're about to meet and his daughter there. The first service was right here in Houston, here at the Impact Ministries. The daughter you're about to meet tells me she had no idea this was going on until she was notified by someone on social media. So she went to the second service in Louisiana the following day. That day when she went there, she said she was in shock to find the condition her father was in.
I don't know who that was in that casket, sir. He looked nothing like my father.
LaShawn Carter's story echoes similar ones we heard last week after the arrest of Javon Major and Sandy Broussard. Families claim Major posed as a licensed funeral director and mortician. Investigators say the pair forged signatures of beneficiaries and got life insurance.
He claimed that he was trying to help us out because he basically was saying, like, my father was a friend of the family. My father never knew this guy.
Carter's dad, Dwayne Michael Sumner, died of a heart attack at 55. She said shortly after his death, Major called her, telling her he had her dad's body and was going to do the service for $31,000. Once you got the invoice for $31,000, you told him, no, thank you. We are going to go with somewhere else. And at that point, he said, no, you have to do it with me.
Yes, and he called and told me that he's embalming my father's body and that I need to send him the fee for that. And he kept on pressing me about sending him a policy.
The policy, his insurance. Major, charged with forgery, appeared in front of a judge. God is in control. His attorney didn't address the allegations against him, but said the judge issued a $10,000 bond. As for Carter, she believes she and those who have come forward aren't alone.
I feel horrible. Like, that's not a way I wanted to see my father.
Yeah, Carter tells me she filed a complaint with the Texas Funeral Service Commission, the director of the Funeral Service Commission, telling me that the two involved in this case are not licensed in the state of Texas as funeral directors or morticians, and adding that today they've received additional complaints of the two involved. You can see our full interview with the executive director on our website, clicktohouston.com.
All right, everybody. KPRC2 Click Houston is the source. So we have another young lady being scammed by Mr. Major and Miss Broussard. More people have come forward. This is 2-day-old content. So he's calling on behalf of the funeral homes, pretending to be a director. He demands more money so you can get access to your loved one. And people are not verifying with the funeral home to say, hey, I've already talked to you. I've set up a payment arrangement, whatever the situation is. And some foolishly are giving this man money. Jefferson Elite, you can tell us your story. Thank you, sir.
Well, I actually first...
I need you to speak up a little bit. Turn your volume up, baby, just a little bit so they can hear you. That's okay.
Turn your own up.
It's okay.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead. Start talking now to let you know.
I said I've become aware. First, I've become aware of him through actually other mortuary transports. companies. We have a national mortuary transport company group that's on Facebook.
Okay.
And majority of the transport companies around the country and beyond are actually on this particular group.
Can you give us the name so people can, know the name of the company?
Oh, it's just National Mortuary
Oh,
Transport.
National Mortuary. Okay, that's fine.
Yes, absolutely. So, and it's just one of those groups where, of course, funeral homes and anyone that's in the transport industry, death care industry, we are all pretty much in that group, and we
Okay.
share different ideas. We share things that, tips that we can all learn from. Things of that
Okay.
nature.
Tell us your name, the name of your company, how long you've been in business, and how you came to get in contact with Mr. Major.
So my name is Michael Jefferson. I am the proud CEO and president of Jefferson Elite Mortuary Transport here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
And I have my business has been operating now for almost 3 years.
Oh, God is good. Amen.
Mortuary Transport LLC. It is a legit business.
Okay. So you have a website set up?
Ma'am?
You have a website set up where people can notify you in case they need your services. Okay. So you have a legitimate business. You're licensed to transport people.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I grew up in funeral service. So,
okay. That's fine.
Yeah, my foster parents own a funeral home here in Atlanta. So
Okay. Tell us how you became to know this heathen.
Well, the whole situation is just sad, but
it is.
First of all, let me say that I'm the only mortuary transport company that I know of, especially in the state of Georgia, that does what we call the royal removal experience, which means when I come to pick up your loved one, I literally roll out the red carpet. There's a red carpet, there's red poles, I sprinkle rose petals, and then I have a crown. So if it's your father, there's a male crown. If it's your mother or a female, of course, I have the tiaras. No other mortuary transport company is doing it, and my business just took off. It was just
okay. So you stay busy, because I know that from trying to get you on tonight. You're on call. That's your livelihood.
Absolutely, and we death. We never know when death is going to occur.
That's true. That is true.
I'm always on call 24/7. That's just the
nature. 24/7.
24/7.
Okay.
But I got a message, shall I say? Someone sent me a screenshot of Mr. Major's TikTok. At that time, I didn't even have TikTok.
Okay.
But they sent me a screenshot of another funeral home. Sent me the screenshot. And one thing about the funeral service industry, I don't care where you are, it's big, but it's small.
Yes.
Everybody knows somebody, or if they don't know that person, they know somebody who know that person.
Exactly.
So you can't, it was almost kind of dumb for him to do what he did to me. And
Desperate.
We wouldn't get back.
Yes.
I take what we do very serious. This is a ministry for me. And we're serving families who are, they're at their worst. They're vulnerable.
Yes.
Because they lost a loved one. But what happened was they sent me a screenshot of his TikTok, and he took all of my videos and photos of me serving families. And he literally put his funeral home, Broussard and Major funeral home name on it, as if it was literally him, as if it was his work. That's what he did. And not only did that funeral home hit me up, then I started getting calls from transport companies. I got a phone call from a funeral home there in Houston, Texas, saying, "Hey, this guy is stealing your content." I didn't believe it at first.
Somebody that knew your work.
Yeah, they knew my work. Yeah. And I didn't believe it at first, but I knew, when people, you got to be careful, because people aren't honest, they're dishonest. I literally went to his TikTok page, and sure enough, I'm looking at it. I couldn't believe it. My mouth dropped, actually. And I'm just looking at him literally all the pictures and stuff that he had on his video, on his TikTok and his Instagram, were pictures of me and my work. Literally.
You're not in any of the videos?
No.
Okay.
No. But it was absolutely my work.
Anybody
who knows, anybody that's in mortuary transport knows, when you see that red carpet and the crown and the whole, that they know that's Jefferson Elite Mortuary Transport.
So when did you make contact with him?
So I called him. Finally, I called a third party who's also has a mortuary transport, and I called him because I wanted to have a witness on the phone. Sometimes you can have a conversation with people.
I understand. They'll say anything, yes.
So it can go back and forth. And I actually I don't have it anymore, but I actually recorded the conversation that I had with him. So I called him, and he immediately knew who I was. Apparently, I guess the caller ID. He immediately knew who I was.
So how did you reach out to him, on IG?
No, I called. There was a phone number, I guess, for his funeral home, and I called the phone number.
And where was the phone number listed?
Huh?
Where was the phone number listed?
It was listed on his screenshot of his Broussard and Major on his promotional material. He had a phone number on there. I guess for people to call the funeral home, you know.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, where was the promotional? Where did you see it at?
Oh, on TikTok.
TikTok, I see. Okay.
On TikTok. Well, let me put a pin there too. Let me just also say, that's what made me start my own TikTok. And of course, I blasted him. But
imagine that.
here's the craziest thing about God. Real quick, I got to throw this in there.
Go ahead.
When he was taking my material and posting it as if it was his own material,
yes,
he had maybe a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 or so views and likes on it. So once that whole situation happened, I created my own. I blasted him, and then I posted my actual.
What is yours versus what he's posted? Absolutely.
And the way God works is crazy, because I have over 1 million views now.
Amen.
You know what I mean? So it's just
yes.
Like, you can't steal. He's dishonest.
Yes.
He's deceptive. I told him this on the phone, and I told him that if he didn't take it down, I was going to sue him, because that's false advertisement. You can't do that.
I understand.
You know, and then you're taking my likeness of something that I literally worked hard for and built. I knew that he was dishonest when he was doing that. My thing is, come up with your own stuff. But at this time, I did not know he wasn't licensed. I did not know everything that everybody knows now. I just kind of literally just gave it to God. It was like, God, well, you know, you handle that.
Well, you see how bold he was to talk about God walking out the courtroom.
Absolutely. It blows my mind. I think he's mentally ill, to be very honest with you.
Well, you're ill once you start dealing with the dead. Right. In any nefarious way, there's something mentally wrong with you. Yes.
But what he did to these families, it makes us look bad.
Exactly.
It makes the funeral homes look bad. And then to come to find out that he wasn't even licensed or anything of that nature, I knew, eventually, to be very honest with you, I knew that at some point he was going to run into a brick wall.
Well, you abusing the corpses. They're bloated. They're not embalmed. Word is going to get out very fast.
Yep, it spreads fast. But I was talking to a couple of people. It's kind of, he had to have had help. There's no way.
And that's what everybody is saying. And that's where family care comes in. Because right now I'm getting ready to go to his IG page, and I'm going to look to see if any of your content is still up there. And then I'm going to ask you, what do you plan to do from here on out if it's still up here on his IG page?
Correct.
Are you going to try to sue, or are you going to?
It's still up. But again, he blocked me, so I can't see anything.
Exactly. So that's what I'm getting ready to look now. Because
he blocked on TikTok and Instagram, on all of,
Okay. Hold on, because I had it here. Put my glasses on. So what am I looking for?
Well, you'll know it's
red carpet.
Yeah, you'll see a red carpet. You'll see a stretcher with a crown. If you see any type of crown or any material, anything like that, you'll know it's mine. That taught me a lesson too, that you have to start watermarking your work.
Well, now it's private.
Yeah.
It wasn't private the other day when I brought the story.
He know what he's doing, but he's not going to get away with this. He's not.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Hold on, I jumped back in. Sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. Yeah, right here it shows it. Do you see?
I can barely see. Raise your phone up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep. Yeah, he's looked like he blocked it.
Yeah, it's got private. It wasn't private the other day.
Yeah. It's just everything's catching up with him. And I think that he.
And I looked up this little hoodie in Google. Nothing.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Let's see what we found on Facebook. So what you've heard in this commentary I played, plus watching the press conference, what is your take on who else is involved and just the scenario itself?
Well, a couple things just stand out red flag to me. you have to be a licensed funeral director to, first of all, even get information for an insurance policy. That's just the way that the business works. And for him to be able to get the bodies, you have to have a place where you have to take those bodies to.
And that's what people are curious about. The people who've gotten the bodies and they were deteriorating and bloated. Yep. One was in a church. The lady said it was in a church in a rough neighborhood. Dirt on the face, like one lady said the son or whatever had dirt on his face like he'd already been in the ground.
And that tells me that he's storing bodies
somewhere,
but not a funeral home.
Oh Lord have mercy.
And then he's not embalming the bodies, from what the stories allegedly, from the stories, of course, that I've heard. He's having help. Somebody's helping him.
Do you believe this Miss Brown is aiding him some type of way? Because that church that body was found in at night, the woman went there at 9 p.m. Somebody had to let him in. Churches aren't open at 9 o'clock at night.
Well, again, I don't know her, but somebody's aiding him. But here's the other thing with that as well. Even whoever runs that church, whether the pastor, whoever that is,
yeah,
somebody's getting paid under the table. Because first of all, ain't nobody going to open a church for free. That's just number
one.
Well,
and that's what I was thinking.
So he's paying because he doesn't have a place to store or facility that's legal to store the bodies. That's what it sounds like. He's paying. And it should be a red flag anyway if you say, hey, I want to come and view my loved one, and they send you to a church. You should be able to go to a funeral home, a mortuary, or facility.
Right.
That specializes in that. So if a funeral home person will tell you, hey, come to the church to view the body, not for the funeral or anything, that's a red flag.
Exactly. What I find interesting, and I didn't want to seem mean to the victims, but why in the world would anybody allow somebody to contact them on Facebook about their loved one? Do you understand what I'm saying? Whether he's representing himself of his own company or family care or whomever, you never go to the funeral home. He tells you don't call them. Those should be red flags right there.
Yeah, those are all red flags.
Okay.
Do not listen. I feel sorry for the families because what you're thinking about when your loved one died. Hey, your heart is broken. My loved one is just deceased. Your mind literally is all over the place.
Right.
And then you're vulnerable to scams, to fraudulent activity. And so I can see how when he reached out to them or called them, hey, such and such and such, I can see how they would probably entertain it. But from the stories that I'm hearing, there are just too many red flags. I'm just sitting back laughing.
That you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Everybody knows where to go to bury the decedent. It's up to you and your pocketbook. That's just the bottom line.
Yep.
You know to go to this funeral home or that funeral home, and then whatever happens when you get in there, that's between you and whomever that's making the arrangements. Nobody should be calling you up through Messenger or jumping on your timeline. Hey, I can help you bury your mother, sister, whatever.
Yep.
Because when you look at the profile, go in their profile, look at it, go under their name and look to see if they're legit, if they have a website. You could have done all that at the moment that he messaged you, looked everything up and said, well, I don't see a website. I don't see it in a Google search. Then block, delete.
But that goes on to what one of the victims was saying in the press conference. He was taking material the same way he did me.
Yes.
Material from other funeral homes.
Yes, he did. And showed them, yes.
And showed it and was posting it, which is what he did on his TikTok and his Instagram, and was showing, hey, this is my work. So you're thinking as a family, oh, you're not thinking, is this guy legit or not? You just think that, and that's a part of the scam.
Yeah.
Oh, he's did an amazing job here with this.
Yeah, because he also represents the funeral homes that you have already got in cahoots with. Somehow but that makes no sense because once you make arrangements, it should be done. If if you write the obituary out, say such and such is going to be held at such and such place. How would you let somebody call you on the phone saying, hi, I'm with such and such mortuary. You owe me another $500. You owe me another. You'd be like, no, I've already put my money down. We've already set up an arrangement. See, this is strange to me still.
And I always tell families, before you send your body anywhere, or release your body to whatever funeral home, do your research, especially if it's not a well-known, reputable.
Exactly.
Just do your research. Make some phone calls. And one of the things that I heard, allegedly, he was trying to charge someone $30,000 for a funeral.
I heard. Yes.
No
That's
sense.
crazy. That's crazy.
Now I could see around 12, 15, depending on what you want. You know, how many cars you want, what type of casket that you want, the professional service fee from that particular funeral home. Do you want horse and carriage and all of that stuff? But even then, $30,000.
Okay, here is somebody's post from the 22nd. Her name is Jashay Benet. Eternal Rest Funeral Home has never been associated with anyone by the name of J Major, aka Javon Major, aka Little Hoodie One, the funeral plug. This individual has taken advantage of a grieving family by scamming them out of $1,600, posing as a funeral director for Eternal Rest Funeral Home, and claiming to be on the board of Glory Land Missionary Baptist Church. We pride ourselves on providing the best services possible to the families we serve. Knowing that we can make difficult times a little easier for families is what motivates us day to day. We are not, nor have we ever, capital letters, been associated with any funeral consultants. I encourage all families that desire the services of our funeral home to communicate with the funeral home directly, capital letters. Remember, it's best to know us and not need us than to need us and not know us. But this is by Venus Shanae. 27 comments under it pertaining to how sick this is. Most people are saying, wow, sad. This is so sad. I seen a whole family on TikTok complaining about him and the stuff he done to their parents when their son was killed. This is so sad.
You know what?
Go ahead. Go ahead and finish.
That statement makes sense because let's just say if you are working with, I guess, that funeral home or whatever, which is reputable, then, you know, from what they were describing of the bodies, surely Eternal Rest or whatever funeral home wouldn't allow a body to go out looking and smelling, you know, any kind of way, because that's their license.
Okay. I was looking at something somebody had on their computer. I don't know what this means. The lady has circle. Ultra viewer was successfully removed from your computer. Maybe that's something he was asking to use to send money. I don't know. This is from the Judy Washington. This is very strange. Somebody says, I don't do crooks. I just stopped the people from milking more out of Miss Wayne after they got her for $50,000 on January 9th, 2024, before she called me and they contacted her back for more. This is from a Judy Washington. The people, somebody else by the name of Rosalind says, and I know Glory Land ain't have a thing to do with it because that's my church and my pastor. He all about helping people, not hurting them. So that's what he's doing. He's going in to legitimate funeral homes. Well, using legitimate funeral homes as his company and trying to get more money out of the people. And they foolishly will send more money without calling the funeral home to say, hey, I just talked to you. Why are you, you know what I'm saying? Using somebody to call me to get money. And that's when they'll say, we didn't call you.
And I would tell people, do not, before you fork over any information or any money, do your research, get something in writing. You should be able to go to a facility, a building, actual funeral. Yeah. That's a red flag. Unless you're just ailing and your health is failing and you call them reputable and they say, well, hey, we can come out to your home to make arrangements. You should be able to go to a facility where there are caskets where you can select from, an actual funeral home, actual mortuary to make arrangements. That's another red flag.
Yeah. Well, here he is.
Wow.
With Family Care. So he worked with them at one point.
Yeah, they know. I'm sure they do. And
yeah, because one lady in the press conference said they were at the burial.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Family Care was. So why would he be there if he has his own mortuary? Because he's got it, Major and Broussard. He's got the little book up, leather binder. He's got posted on his IG page. So what I find interesting about Family Care, she has nothing new on her Facebook page. You understand what I'm saying?
Wow.
She has 2 Facebook pages. One's more personal, and the one, it's got the 4 names, Diane McGowan Cotton Brown, which is strange. Lighthouse logo for the funeral home. But there's nothing recent, which is baffling. Everything's going back 23 on back 22.
Wow. Red flags.
Mm-hmm.
Red flags. And if
Mm-hmm.
anybody can learn anything about this situation, somebody call you, hey, I knew such and such and such, and hey, we need this amount of money. Those are red flags. Those are just, and I always tell people, just go with a reputable firm. Go.
Yes.
What he's doing, I'll say it, he should be put under the jail. Absolutely under the jail. But what he's done to these families and robbed them of their moments with their loved ones, that is not what the funeral professionals that I know stand for. We believe in helping people.
Okay.
It's ministry for us. And it ain't always about the money. That's a red flag.
Exactly.
You know, he should absolutely be held accountable, which I think that he will. And a $10,000 bond was just that blew me. That blew me.
Because they don't care. What's that? $1,000 to get out. He's spreading money all over the floor in the IG video. He's gotten it from milking these people, forging documents, forging a life insurance policy, that victim form to say nobody's claiming about it. He did that. That's about 6,000 plus. You heard that in the press conference. He knows his stuff. Somebody's talking well, or he's learned it on his own. I don't know. But he worked for the funeral home, so he can hear conversations, how people are doing things.
He put thought into this fraud, into this game, and into this scam. He absolutely did. But again, you know, whenever God don't play about his people. He don't. And it was just a matter of time before this was going to come out. It's sad. Now, what he did to me is nothing compared to what he's done to these families. They can never.
Yeah. Because he didn't get any money out of you.
No. But
oh, sorry about that. I was trying to pull up something. Sorry. Go ahead.
But it's okay. It's people like him that just make us look bad. And I hope that they ban him from the funeral profession as all. You know, and he wasn't even licensed. So I mean, what can they ban him from? You know.
Well, guess what? He has a lawyer now, so he needs money.
Yeah.
And I'm also curious to where they arrested him. I have not heard. Him and Miss Broussard, his helper.
Right. And I've never spoken to her. When I made the phone call to him, he answered the phone. You know, I spoke to him. And then I blasted him, of course. And he had the nerve to call me back. I didn't answer the phone.
I mean, call back for what?
I guess he sent me a text. And it said, hey, I thought you said if I take everything down, you know, you wouldn't No, it's too late. It's done. Because you're playing with my name and my reputation.
Yes. I'm trying to see if I see anything with him on Facebook. So far, I'm not seeing anything. I guess he'd be on TikTok. Let me see. So I don't have TikTok. I tried getting into it. It wouldn't let me in for some reason. When was the last time you checked anything with his logos or whatever?
Just the other day. And that's when I heard it. You know, I forgot about him. I hadn't heard anything, you know, else from that up until now. But again, what he's done to these families are absolutely deplorable. I got about maybe 2 minutes left.
That's fine. You got a call? That's fine. Well, tell me whatever you want to tell me, and I'll just keep the conversation going. You can come back and watch it at a later date.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to say to anybody that's listening, do your homework. Mm-hmm. Losing a loved one is one of the moments in your lifetime that you'll never forget. Those are moments in your lifetime. It's like when you have your baby. You'll never forget when you had your
That's
child.
True. Yeah.
Losing your mother, your father is one of those moments that you'll never get back. Those are important moments in your life. So do your homework. Make sure that you're reaching out to reputable sources. If you don't know, call somebody else and, hey, ask them, do I know this person? Go to an actual facility. You know, read the reviews. You know, don't just give your personal information, especially, well, he was forging information, but don't just give your personal information over to anyone. There should be red flags. If it don't seem right, if it don't sound right, if you have a gut feeling that something could be off, if it acts like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. But again, my heart goes out to
yes. I feel bad because they're free. He and Miss Broussard, Sandy Broussard, they're free. So they're still free to do whatever, find a new scam, whatever. But family care is also my next priority to discuss them and do more digging into them because he has that name under the IG profile.
And he's in videos with them at services. So it's kind of like.
Wouldn't you by now have already said something to him? Hey, you work for me, you don't work for me, take that stuff down. You no longer are my client. I mean, my employee. Why do you have this stuff up? See, that's where these people have done their digging, that there's something wrong with this company, because it was just up the other day. The IG page was open and family care was in there, you know.
They're just trying to.
And she has to know that people are talking and that he's using it. So if he doesn't work for me, why would you have that on your IG page?
Yeah. Unless he's doing stuff that they don't know about. But I find it very hard.
Well, that's what these witnesses are saying. I'm going to believe them because they don't have any reason to lie. If they say they believe that woman is behind it, then I believe them.
It's just deplorable and it's sad. And I want to apologize on behalf of all the mortuary, the legitimate, integral mortuary transport companies, funeral homes, mortuaries that really are in this for the right reason. That really are.
Reason.
We love
because it's a needed business. That's the point. We all have to leave here.
Yep.
And you're going to go some type of way, and you're going to have somebody to facilitate, whether you are cremated or you are put into a casket. And I'm also concerned about that casket business too, because if there's some people right now that don't have their loved ones, then where are their deceased bodies at?
Yeah. I think that we're going to be blown away by the things that are going to
come. I believe it. And I'm also concerned also about casket business.
Yeah.
You don't know what your loved one is going to be, if they're going to be in that box when you walk off. Are you going to stand there and let them fill the hole back up? It takes a while to fill a hole.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? How do you know your loved one has not been taken out of the casket you've purchased, put in some old TikTok box, just thrown in the dirt, nobody around to see? That's scary to me. And I got a feeling they've been doing that too.
You just never know. It has been a complete privilege to come on with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You come back anytime. If you learn anything new in the business itself, anything about this case, just, you know how to reach me, and then we'll go from there. We'll talk about the next dilemma.
Yes, ma'am. And I look forward to coming on with you again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless you. Okay. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. Mr. Jefferson has some business to tend to. He's a funeral transporter. So he gets calls all day, all night, and that's that. So it is what it is. Okay, Mr. Jefferson, you got to unhook your microphone to come out. I think he's having a problem coming out of the menu. That's okay. I'm just glad he was able to finally come on up. I'm very glad. He said, let's see. Hold on. I think he's having problems. Okay, he's off now. Okay. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. Little ice there. Strange business. Strange business. Wait 1 second, everybody. I need to bring some more information up too. Because there was a couple out west and I didn't do an update with them. Did you want to come up here, Latrice? Wait a minute. I think I'm putting the wrong thing up here. Hello, Joelle. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. I've got to find that where I messaged him, the StreamYard. I'm putting the wrong one down. Sorry about that, everybody. Oh, I'm going to have to do this back. K9. You don't know people. That's the point. And I'm sure those people are beating themselves up for getting involved with him. Hello, bro. Oh, not today. Oh, excuse me, honey. Okay. You said not today. Well, I've only been on 35 minutes. Michael Jefferson, that's who you just heard, of Jefferson Elite, Mortuary Transport, LLC. And I'm very, he's out of Atlanta, Georgia. And we met because I saw a post he had up in the Google search when I was trying to get information pertaining to Mr. Major and his company. And that's how I found Mr. Michael. He basically was saying this person stole his information. And we've heard that in the news broadcast that he would steal videos, content from other mortuaries and post it as his own. He and Miss Broussard. You don't hear much about Miss Broussard. She probably laid in the cut. She probably did the actual, forging of things and probably going to the bank and doing all those type of nonsense, checks and account, things like that. Because naturally, when you get that type of lump sum of money, it's got to go in a bank account. You got to cash it somewhere. And I doubt they're cashing it at the checking the cash. I don't know. Oh, I see the background. Okay, that's fine. If anybody wants to hit the link to give their opinion pertaining to this debacle, I just played content earlier of another victim that has been duped by this Major, Javon or Jamal Major and Sandy Broussard. He's 26, she's 38. Also, family care. We believe you are also involved in this debacle. Strange things. This is the new hustle. Let me do a little research to bring you all so I can fill up my time while I'm going live. Yes, what a mess. Exactly. I'm going to bring you that other content of those people out west, what they've done, and then we'll go from there. I'm very glad he came up here. But that is the latest scam for those who are not familiar. Look at that. Got a lot in here.
Scam at the same time. A recent trend made its way to Ohio at the Spring Grove Cemetery in Cincinnati. People posing as representatives of funeral homes or cemeteries and contacting families using obituaries. The news reporter Seth Bird joins us live in the studio after talking with a fraud watch organization and a local funeral home about this latest trend.
Before we finish this, Latrice, the witnesses are saying she's involved as well. I've done my homework on her Facebook page. There's nothing recent on there. People die every day. You want me to believe nobody's died in Bay City since November? Nobody's chosen this funeral home in the general Bay City area, Bay City, Texas. Nobody died in December. Nobody's died in January. Come on now. Nobody has passed away. When you go to the website for the family care, I showed you all 3 people who they did not have an obituary for. So that should tell you something. She's in cahoots with this nonsense with Major and Broussard. Maybe something happened. She couldn't afford to keep the place up, or she couldn't keep staff. It's something. But she's in it. Because all you have to do is go to her Facebook pages. There's nothing new on there of a funeral. It's all older content dating back to 22, 21, something like that. You should have something on there recent. December, nobody passed away in December. Nobody contacted your funeral home. Come on now. You got all these videos dating back 22, whatever. And I'm supposed to believe you've buried nobody recently. She's in cahoots. These family members say she's in cahoots. Let's finish hearing about this funeral scam business, how it works, because many people probably don't know this is the latest scam, or it's probably been going on for years, but we just haven't heard about it. WDTN TV is the source. It was uploaded five months ago.
Seth?
at Spring Grove Cemetery is not the first time scammers have tried taking advantage of grieving families. This has been a national trend over the last year. Now that trend is hitting close to home. They're worried about going through the stages of grief and kind of healing themselves, and then the next thing they know, they're the target of a scam. Already grieving the loss of a loved one, funeral homes say these scammers are calling, trying to convince you to pay for your loved one's service or extra charges over the phone, threatening that if you don't, the funeral service will not happen. Frankly, it's just terrible.
Criminals want money, right? They go where the money is, and older adults hold the majority of wealth in the United States. But let me be clear that they will steal $5 from a 19-year-old or $5,000 from a 79-year-old.
Exactly.
They don't care.
They don't care.
Route Song says if you receive a call like this and you don't know if the person on the other end is legitimate, don't give your credit card information over the phone. Instead, call your funeral home or cemetery directly. You trust them, you verify them. They're going to be the ones that's the go-between to make sure that everything's handled in the appropriate manner. And if you're not hearing from your funeral director on the phone, that should kind of be a red flag.
Exactly.
And at the sign of the times, Route Song adds you should not share a lot of information in the obituaries since there is so much information available online these days. You know, at this point, with happening down in Cincinnati, I fear it's only a matter of time, but just if everybody's more vigilant, maybe it'll just kind of go away after a while. If you do receive a call like this, you can report it to the AARP Fraud Watch Network helpline or call the number on your screen at 877-908-3360. In studio, Seth Bird, 2 News.
All right, so they're giving you, for instances, don't give your personal information out. Verify, verify, verify. You've already made arrangements with the funeral home. Nobody should be calling you back if you've already talked to the people. You've already set up payment arrangements, all that. Nobody should be calling you back talking about money. So don't even engage in a conversation. You got a business card of the director or the care attendant or however it works. That is who you should be speaking to. Not Pookie, Ray Ray, Bubba, Juan, all that type of nonsense. No. Ring, ring, ring. Hello. Yes, we need $500 more from you, $1,000 before we can proceed with the funeral service. Well, I've already set up payment arrangements. Well, you owe us more money. Okay, well, put John Black on the phone. And they might even say, who? You understand? Put John Black on the phone. John Black is who I'm supposed to be talking to, the funeral director or however it goes. You ain't John Black, I don't want to hear from you. Block, delete, and then you call Mr. Black and let him know, somebody just called from your funeral home trying to get money out of me. And that's when he's going to say, I don't know what you're talking about. We've already set up payment arrangements, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, that's what I thought. So who is this joker on my phone line or in my inbox through Messenger, TikTok, whatever? It's sad that you can't even tell people somebody's passed away. You need funds to bury them. That's a normal thing to do is say, hey, we need help with the funds. Well, it's open season. For scamming that way, it's open season once you make the arrangements with the funeral home. And now the funeral home is listed. Here comes these little busybodies. Oh, found us a new hustle. Let's call them and tell them they owe us more money. They can't get the dead or whatever until they send us money on a green dot card. You should know it's a scam anyway. As soon as somebody reaches out through Facebook, TikTok. When did funeral homes start soliciting in social media? They might have a Facebook page, but they shouldn't be calling random people. Oh, your mama died? Well, we can help you out. We got a little care package. You understand? We have a care package. This is deplorable because no one should be calling you when your loved one dies. That's my point. You know where to go to bury the dead. That's just common sense. You are not above this ground as an adult and have not heard of funeral homes in your general location. I don't care if you're in New York or you're here in Tennessee in a small town. You know who has a funeral home, mortuary. It is up to you to navigate the services, not the funeral home. They only come in afterwards. After you have sat down with them and made a payment plan. Whew, what a mess. But yes, this is the latest funeral home scams. Look at this. Fraud, cocaine, 9 years ago. Here's another update pertaining to these heathens.
Accused of stealing from dozens of grieving families while operating an unlicensed funeral business are both free from jail tonight on unusually low bond.
Fox 26's Randy Wallace joining us now with the latest in this ongoing series.
Yeah, Anthony. Now, the pair made headlines last week when Precinct 1 Constable Alan Rosen announced the results of an 8-month investigation. Even though more victims are coming forward, the two spent almost no time in jail.
This individual had the nerve to take advantage of us.
Dozens of people say they were victims of 26-year-old Javon Major and 38-year-old Sandy Broussard. The pair is accused of operating an unlicensed funeral business, stealing life insurance funds, charging for funerals and embalmings that didn't happen, and mishandling bodies.
She's been living with someone's ashes for months that she thought was her loved one. His body was warm. It was not cold. When I walked in and I looked at my son, his body was bloated.
We're charged with protecting Texas consumers in the funeral service industry. And these are very, very
Funeral Service Commission.
Allegations.
Mr. Major, we had to go and physically find him.
Major has a lengthy criminal history and a track record of skipping out on bond.
Every time he was charged and out on bond, he forfeited his bond. Every single one. He had 7 bond forfeitures.
Yet 262nd Criminal District Court Judge Lori Chambers Gray set Major's bond at just $10,000.
This is very concerning.
He was in and out before you blinked.
A guy like this should probably not have been let out of jail. Historically, I would say that for violent offenders, but this is just bad. It's just bad.
Get this. Major's alleged accomplice, Sandy Broussard, got a PR bond or get out of jail free card from Magistrate Renette Franklin, even though she has 7 felony convictions and is on parole until the year 2040.
Look at all her pictures. Hold on.
Alleged accomplice, Sandy Broussard, got a PR bond or get out of jail free card from Magistrate Renette Franklin, even though she has 7 felony convictions and is on parole until the year 2040.
It's sad. It's sad. And again, if I...
Parole. Wait a minute. Wait. Oh, I got to send this to Mike. What? 2040. It's just 24. She has 16 more years, felony, 7. He's bonded out 7 times. I need to hear that judge's name. Hold on, everybody.
With protecting Texas consumers in the funeral service industry. And these are very, very concerning allegations.
Mr. Major, we had to go and physically find him.
Major has a lengthy criminal history and a track record of skipping out on bond.
Every time he was charged and out on bond, he forfeited his bond. Every single one.
Crime Stoppers.
7 bond forfeitures.
Yet 262nd Criminal District Court Judge Lori Chambers Gray set Major's bond at just 10.
Lori. This is the judge. Somebody needs to talk to you, ma'am. What's your problem? Let me get that name again.
Grand.
This is very
Chambers Gray set Major's
out on bond. He forfeited his bond. Every single one. He had 7 bond forfeitures.
Yet 262nd Criminal District Court Judge Lori Chambers Gray set Major's bond at just $10,000.
This is very concerning.
He was in and out before you blinked.
A guy like this should probably not have been let out of jail. Historically, I would say that for violent offenders, but this is just bad. It's just bad.
Get this. Major's alleged accomplice, Sandy Broussard, got a PR bond or get out of jail free card from Magistrate Renette Franklin, even though she has 7 felony convictions and is on parole until the year 2040.
It's sad. It's sad. And again, if I had all these victims that we have and involved in all these cases, they would be just as upset, just as hurt.
How do you justify giving an 11-time convicted felon who's on parole until 2040 a PR bond?
It's not known if the parole board plans to file and is on parole until the year 2040.
It's sad. It's sad. And again, if I had all these victims that we have and involved in all these cases, they would be just as upset, just as hurt.
How do you justify giving an 11-time convicted felon who's on parole until 2040 a PR bond?
It's not known if the parole board plans to file a blue warrant against Broussard. She obviously
victims that we have and involved in all these cases.
Wow.
They would be just as upset, just as hurt.
How do you justify giving an 11-time convicted felon who's on parole until 2040 a PR bond?
It's not known if the parole board plans to file a blue warrant against Broussard. She obviously violated her parole conditions by picking up new felony theft charges. Randy Wallace, Fox 26 News.
Okay. I'm gonna send that.
Music is a
I'm gonna
music
send
app
that
made by
to Mr. Mike. Hold on one second, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is the reason why people go on to commit worse crimes, such as that mess down in Alabama with Anaya Blanchard. Had the judge not released Yazid from trying to kill an elderly man and his friend from a motel, she'd be alive today, because you let him bond out on an attempted murder charge. They said the man was barely hanging on when the paramedics got to him and his friend. Somebody was on the interstate, saw the car weaving and bobbing, and Yazid was in the car with that victim and another man, probably another girl, whomever. They said that man was barely hanging on. And the judge, a black judge, down there in Alabama, you let him go. Now, in this case, I believe he had a black judge, Mr. Javon. Lori Chambers Gray, what is your damn problem? Renetta Franklin, the judge in this case for Miss Broussard. She's 11-time felon convictions, on parole until 2040. Something mentioned about a blue warrant. She might violate. She couldn't have violated because she just got out of jail. So where is she on parole? Florida or Louisiana? Probably Louisiana. Because if she's in the system on parole in Texas, they weren't supposed to give her no damn bond. She's on bond somewhere else. Somehow she slipped through the cracks. And it's not to say you can't slip through the cracks in your own state. Because we've seen this with a man who killed a woman down in Roane County years ago. He committed an offense in Chattanooga. That's just up the street, 2 hours. And they let him out on a bond for, I think, a DUI charge. He should have never gotten out of that jail. You arrested for murder down in Roane County. That's outside of Knoxville. Fast forward, you're free, walking around, you catch a DUI in Chattanooga. Chattanooga supposed to have ran that damn name to see, oh, he's out on bond for murder. This is ridiculous. So we got 2 dirty judges. A Lori Chambers Gray for Mr. Javon, $10,000 bond. He only paid $1,000 to get out. And then this lady got out on a PR bond, and she's on parole until 2040. So how did she get out? What was her bond? Guess it's his lover. I got to get my baby out. I got to get my sugar mama out of jail. This is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Hold on, everybody. And now his IG page is private. I guess it is private. Because you'd have seen somebody talking about you. You'd have heard people talking about you. You thought you was going to keep flogging out here, showing all your little money and everything, and nobody's going to say anything? Are you serious? Okay. Wow, wow, wow. Oh. Here's another guy. Shantae Harden sentenced to nearly 12 years in prison for operating unlicensed funeral home. That was a year ago. Wow. Scammers targeting grieving families by posing as funeral homes. What a mess.
Police say crooks are targeting grieving families. At least 2 cases of so-called funeral home scams reported. Police say imposters pretend to be from a funeral home, call victims, telling them unless they pay more money immediately, the funeral will be canceled. So if you receive one of these calls, police advise you to hang up, contact the funeral home directly using the trusted number, and report the crime to Bradenton Police.
That's down in Florida. I've got to find that story. Hold on one second. Yeah, I guess so. Here we go. This is the couple I want to talk about.
Bodies were found at a funeral home in southern Colorado. The owners of the Return to Nature Funeral Home in Penrose face several felony charges for improperly storing all of those bodies. Authorities have arrested John and Carrie Halford in Oklahoma. We're getting our first look at those mugshots from Oklahoma. Prosecutors charged them with abuse of a corpse, theft, and money laundering. Just an awful story going down there. Fremont County Sheriff searched the funeral home last month after someone complained of a terrible smell. Several agencies were involved in the investigation. Investigators have been trying to give families some closure going down there. Fremont County Sheriff searched the funeral home last. Mugshots from Oklahoma. Prosecutors charged them with abuse of a corpse, theft, and money laundering. Just an awful story going down there. Fremont County Sheriff searched the funeral home last month after someone complained of a terrible smell. Several agencies were involved in the investigation. Investigators have been trying to give families some closure of their loved ones' remains, but they still don't have answers yet. Prosecutors updated the investigation in a news conference in Colorado Springs just about 9
minutes. Hold on. Trying to show you their faces.
Authorities have arrested John and Carrie Halford in Oklahoma. We're getting our first look at those mugshots from Oklahoma. Prosecutors charged them with abuse of a corpse, theft, and money laundering. Just an awful story going down.
Story I worked on.
Fremont County Sheriff searched the funeral home last month after someone complained of a terrible smell. Several agencies were involved in the investigation. Investigators have been trying to give families some closure of their loved ones' remains, but many still don't have answers yet. Prosecutors updated the investigation in a news conference in Colorado Springs just about 90 minutes ago. They say that the details of what they found inside the business are gruesome and shocking Even after a month full of work, they still haven't identified all of those bodies.
I want to warn you, the information contained in that
a little cool.
affidavit
Hold on
is
one second,
absolutely
everybody.
shocking. To date, we have positively identified 110 individuals. We have another 80 individuals that we are working on diligently to identify. We have released approximately 25 loved ones back to their families as of today.
The Halfords are still waiting extradition back to Colorado. Investigators are asking anyone who's had any connection with the funeral home after September of 2019 to contact them 4 years ago. At this point, they're working to identify bodies using dental records. They say that they'll move to DNA testing down the line if they need to.
Okay.
Searching for a new...
Let me do a little research on these two, because I meant to bring you an update 2 months ago. So sorry about that. I get real busy and distracted. 1 second. Can't keep up with all these stories. Every time you turn around, it's something new to add on. Oh, Lordy. This is an update, everybody. A Penrose funeral home where 190 bodies were found improperly stored is being demolished in January, and we're now in February. Many of the bodies that were found at Return to Nature Funeral Home were reported to the state as buried or cremated, and loved ones were provided with items that were purported to be remains. According to a federal complaint filed in the case, the Penrose Funeral Home's license expired in November of 22. So that would have been a year later when this story broke in 2023, a few months ago. And what is baffling is just like the story here with Javon Major and Sandy Broussard, they don't have the resources to bury. They don't have the resources to transport. They don't have the resources to embalm. They're just getting your money. And we ain't no telling what they've done with these people's bodies. As you hear with this story, these people allegedly got remains such as ashes. But now we see that can't be true because all those bodies were in that building stored. Are you hearing what I'm saying? 190 bodies, but the people think they've already been cremated and they have not. Just saying. Once again, many of the bodies that were found at Return to Nature Funeral Home were reported to the state as buried, cremated, and loved ones were provided with items that were purported to be remains, according to the federal complaint filed in the case. The Penrose Funeral Home's license expired November 22nd. The Environmental Protection Agency said in a release that demolition is necessary to safely remove biological and hazardous materials inside the funeral home after an assessment on November 15th. It's been very sad. It's horrible. It's heartbreaking. 200 families, not just us, have been affected, Samantha Naranjo said. Naranjo said her grandmother, Dorothy, was one of the 190 bodies found inside the funeral home. It goes to show just how tragic the situation is by knowing that they have to demolish, this building to know that there was, that was the environment that my grandmother has been in for over a year, Naranjo said. Naranjo's grandmother died in October 2022. Over the weekend, the family said goodbye again. I found some relief in being able to witness her cremation and see that on Friday for myself, she said. And that's the weirdest feeling in the world. Like, I don't think many people understand that. How do you cremate your loved one again? How do you say goodbye to your loved one again? Wow. Let's get a picture of this lady and her grandmother, who she thought was already cremated. The EPA, the EPA is working to develop, oh Lord, why is it jumping off? This is strange. Sorry about that. Well, I don't know why it's jumping off. Hold on. I don't know what's going on with the devices today. They're doing their own thing. The EPA is working to develop a demolition plan and will release more details when they are finalized. The couple who owns the funeral home were arrested in Oklahoma last month on numerous charges, including abuse of corpse, theft, and money laundering. The 4th Judicial District Attorney's Office said John Halford faces, 190 preliminary counts of abuse of a corpse, 61 counts of forgery, and 4 counts of theft and money laundering. Carrie Halford is also being held on 190 counts of abuse of a corpse, as well as dozens of other felony charges that include theft, money laundering, and forgery. Once again, here are the pictures of the two. Wow. Both remain in custody at the El Paso County Jail on a $2 million bond each. Amen. Their next court appearances are both scheduled for Tuesday. Naranjo plans to follow the court process in honor of her grandmother. My grandmother is no longer has a voice, she said. I want to be able to be that voice. She deserves someone to stand up for her, to fight for her justice, to not let her voice or her beautiful, beautiful self go unnoticed. The sheriff's office searched the Penrose property on October 4th after a report was made the previous day of an abhorrent smell coming from the property off Werner Road, according to an order of summary suspension. The FBI detailed extensive efforts led by its Technical Hazards Response Unit to safely remove the remains from the funeral home in October. The conditions were challenging, both mentally and physically, the FBI said in a release. I'm sure it was. I mean, can you imagine the people going in to see that many bodies, almost 200 bodies, and you're having to take them out? You have to wear hazmat suits, all of that, to take the bodies out, put them in body bags. They then have to go to a storage facility, the morgue. Is their local morgue? Can it hold that many people? Did they have to take them to other morgues? This is crazy. And then there's theft involved because you've lied on documents that they were cremated. And obviously the people must have gotten death certificates as well, thinking their loved one was cremated and was not. And God forbid, buried too. Lord have mercy. What a mess. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. December 3rd. And look at this story. A former funeral home operator in Colorado was sentenced to 2 decades behind bars on Tuesday for illegally dissecting 560 corpses and selling the parts without relatives' consent. Megan Hess, 46, pleaded guilty to mail fraud in November under a deal with prosecutors who dropped the other charges against her. What in the hell? I got to see when this content came about. This is a year ago, January. A former funeral home operator in Colorado was sentenced to 2 decades behind bars on Tuesday for illegally dissecting 560 corpses and selling the parts without relatives' consent. Well, who did she sell them to? I'm curious. Universities? What? Megan Hess, 46, pleaded guilty. She pleaded guilty to mail fraud in November under a deal with prosecutors who dropped the other charges against her. Her 69-year-old mother, Shirley Cox, was sentenced to 15 years after admitting to mail fraud and aiding and abetting. The defendant's conduct was horrific and morbid and driven by greed, U.S. Attorney for Colorado Cole Finnegan said after sentencing. The pair were accused of dissecting the bodies. These are women. Between 2010 and 2018, telling their victims' families that their loved ones would be cremated. Instead, they shipped the parts to medical training companies, which were unaware the bodies had been fraudulently acquired. In some cases, the parts were hazardous and infected with HIV, as well as hepatitis B and hepatitis C, even as Hess and Koch reassured their buyers the material was disease-free. We came today to hear the handcuffs click, one victim's relative told the Denver Post, and we got that, quote unquote. What the hell did I just read? This is ridiculous. At that time, that's what the lady looked like. Lying about what you're doing with the bodies, then selling the body parts for experimentation. Probably had HIV, hepatitis C, B. Lord have mercy. Ship parts to medical training companies. Never heard of such. Medical training companies. Who are those? So she got 20 years in federal prison. Lord have mercy. What do morticians do with organs? Good question. It is customary for morticians to remove internal body organs for inspection during the autopsy process. In the time being, the organs are placed inside preservatives. In most cases, they rearrange these organs as neatly as possible inside the deceased body. This was uploaded May 2nd, 22. I never knew. Oh, Lord. What do morticians do with unclaimed bodies? In most cases, local governments use direct cremation to dispose of unclaimed bodies, and the cremains are stored for a set period of time. After being stored, the cremains may be scattered. The Cremation Society of North America has estimated that there are currently 2 million unclaimed cremated remains in the U.S. That is the population of Chicago. Unclaimed remains. Imagine that. This may be disturbing to hear, but I'm just reading what's in the Google search pertaining to the decedents because this is the topic at hand. Do morticians empty the bowels? Most of the time when someone dies, some fecal material is expressed because of muscle relaxation. The body is clean and the funeral home, but feces are not extracted. Why do we open our bowels before dying? Simply because the muscles we use to contain ourselves relax. For those who did not know that. People do use the restroom on themselves after death because the muscles are relaxed. Oh, Lord. Is blood removed during embalming? To begin the embalming process, which is the removal of blood and replacing it with the formaldehyde-based fluid, a small incision is usually made on the remains right side of the lower neck. It is at this position that two of the largest circulatory vessels are located, the carotid artery and the jugular vein. I did not know that. How long can a dead body be kept in a mortuary? Morticians will keep the body in a fridge at 2 degrees Celsius instead of preparing the body with chemicals. However, you need to keep in mind that a refrigerated corpse will only last for 3 to 4 weeks. Just giving you all a little information. 3 to 4 weeks in a refrigerated domain. 2 degrees Celsius. Wow. So they keep it at 2 degrees instead of preparing the body with chemicals. What does a body look like after being in the morgue 3 weeks? After 2 weeks, the body starts to bloat and changes color to red after the blood present in the body starts to decompose. Once the corpse surpasses the 4th week, you can witness liquefaction in the rest of the remains. The teeth and nails also begin to fall during this time frame. This is uploaded February 1st, 2023, for those who are curious. So your teeth and nails also begin to fall at the 4th week. Very interesting. So after 2 weeks, the body starts to bloat. So that's about what happened with the lady who was speaking at that press conference, who went and see her child at the funeral home and heard her say something about it being dark and bloated. This is what people are doing to your loved ones, disrespecting them. They're already dead. I mean, we know they're dead, but you still have no right to desecrate a corpse because they're dead. Does it cost money to keep a body in the morgue? Never heard of that. Interesting. Storage fees range from $35 to $100 per day. The viewing is an opportunity for friends and loved ones to say their goodbyes after condolences and see the body one last time, embalmed or not. Often this is an event which will last a few hours. This was from 2016, this content. Now, during embalming, eyes are not removed. They may need to be chemically treated during the embalming if there was trauma to them before or after death, but we do not remove the eye as a standard procedure for embalming. Just bringing you all information. What is the most common hour of death? Around 11 a.m. Very interesting. There's even a circadian rhythm of death, so that in the general population, people tend on average to be most likely to die in the morning hours. Sometime around 11 a.m. is the average time. This was many years ago, November 2012. It's very strange. Why do morticians remove the brain? At the time of death, all tissue rapidly begins to degrade. In order to ensure the greatest research and diagnostic value of the brain tissue, it is essential that it is removed as quickly after death as possible. So then they ask all about wearing shoes and socks in the casket. It is a common practice to cover the legs as there is swelling in the feet and shoes don't fit as part of funeral care. The body is dressed and preserved with the prime focus on the face. Post-embalming bodies are often placed without shoes, hence covering the legs is the way to offer a dignified funeral. Okay. Oh, so locking the casket, that's to protect the body. That's one of the questions. What organs are removed before embalming a body? The answer is no. All of the organs remain in the body during the embalming process. Instead, the embalmer makes small incisions in the abdomen and insert tubes into the body cavity. These tubes pump a mixture of chemicals and water into the body, which helps to preserve the tissues and prevent decomposition. Now, I did mention to you all about the tongue. Removing the tongue is seen by some MEs as part of the total or complete autopsy procedure. During normal embalming protocol, embalmers inject the head of the subject after they have injected the lower and upper extremities to the full posted case. Oh, mercy. How long does it take to embalm a person? 2 hours. An average of 2 hours, but it can take longer if the deceased was in an accident or had an autopsy, as this requires additional steps to make the body presentable for service. So, wow. So it takes even longer if they've had an autopsy. I didn't know that. Interesting. And if they've been in an accident, it takes longer. The body takes between 10 to 15 years to decay to a point where you may just find bones, teeth, and hair remaining in the casket. There may be also some excess tissue and clothing fibers that withstood the 10 years of decay. Wow, interesting. And this is the question, how does a body look after 10 years? Just bringing you a little information since we are talking about the decedents, dead people. Very, very sad. Latrice, I was hoping you would have came and gave your comment pertaining to this. And also they asked about cremation in the Bible, and it says there are no passages that forbid cremation according to most biblical scholars. However, some passages describe standard death practices during these times. Okay. That's all I've got for you all. But I want to thank my guests for coming up here to talk about his experience with Mr. Major. Major got scared, I guess. It was worried about being sued by Michael Jefferson. But I can't go back now and look at the page, the IG page, to see if his content is up there on his page, because now he's got it on private. Oh, okay. Scroll back up, Latrice. Scroll up on your phone. The link should be up the page if you can. Hold on. Oh, let me send him something too. One second, honey. Very macabre subject matter, I know, but it has to be discussed so people can be aware of these type of scams. Oh, Lord, here's an update. Pertaining to the Kansas City 3. Oh, man, what this is crazy nonsense. One second, honey. I gotta send him something here. Oh, Lord. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Whew, mercy. Allergies, I guess. Hold on, you guys. 1 second. I'm trying to drop this link down here for her. Now, what's wrong with this? Excuse my manners. Now, what is the problem? I thought I wrote it down. Hold on. Okay. 1 second, honey. I'm working it. Taking me forever. Whew. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this network. A little slow here. I was sending Mr. Jefferson that video of that low bail and the counts they have. You'd probably be interested in hearing that information. I'm going to play you something from the queue pertaining to this, the Kansas City 3. I'm about over this case. Because it just seems like it's not, it's about to start getting ignorant.
Department of Anesthesiology at California Pacific Medical Center. Dr. Swisher, thanks so much for joining us. So we're still waiting what the results of these toxicology reports are. We heard possibly cocaine. There's a lot of people who've been focusing on the possibility of fentanyl because these three appear to have just walked outside. One was found sitting in a lawn chair. How quickly would a fentanyl overdose happen in a person?
Well, fentanyl is one of those medications which gets a lot of news because, unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation about fentanyl and how it's used and how it's ingested. Unfortunately, a lot of substances that are bought on the street are contaminated with fentanyl, either purposefully or not purposefully, and people don't know that they're taking it. Fentanyl is a narcotic. It's a short-acting, very potent narcotic. It's much more potent than morphine or heroin is. Fentanyl, depending on the route by which it's ingested, can work immediately, or if it's ingested orally, it can take a longer time to take effect.
Right.
So we're speculating as to whether fentanyl is in there or not, but you don't have to have fentanyl. It could have been like you hear polysubstance abuse, and if you look at Heath Ledger, you look at Matthew Perry or Whitney Houston or Tom Petty or Prince, all these people were engaging in polysubstance abuse. And
polysubstance meaning they were taking a lot of things, just one thing found in their system.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Ativan, Ambien, cocaine, ketamine. In the case of Matt Perry, exactly. Just keep in mind that even though they said that the cause of death of Matthew Perry was ketamine, Matthew Perry fell asleep in a hot tub because of ketamine and he drowned.
Right.
Not that the ketamine is what killed him, but it was an approximate cause of his death.
So that leads me to this question. The fourth man who was renting the house, named Jordan Willis, says he spent 2 days sleeping on the couch. He has now reportedly checked himself into rehab, saying that this whole experience has been a, quote, wake-up call. Could he also have been suffering from the same effects of whatever drug or drugs the three victims who died took? They just happened to be outside when they succumbed, and he was fortunate enough to be inside and not in freezing cold?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, unfortunately, these medications are essentially anesthetics. It's what I do for a living. I mean, you give people enough anesthetics and they'll fall asleep. And these drugs are additive in their effect. And so, again, similar to Matthew Perry, he didn't die necessarily because of the ketamine. He died because he drowned in a hot tub. These men died because they fell asleep in sub-zero temperatures and they developed hypothermia and froze to death. So that's the cause of death is hypothermia, but as a result of intoxication with multi-substances, which caused them to stop breathing, fall asleep. The whole group had been partying and watching the football game together. Leading up to this, neighbors say they saw the men going into the house with 2 30-packs of beer. Could alcohol also have played a role in all this? Absolutely. I mean, alcohol alone could have played a role in this. If you drink enough, you will fall asleep, and so it's just intoxication to the extent where you pass out. And you do that in, again, sub-zero temperatures. I'm sure that's happened many times in history. Fishermen or people out in the cold fall asleep from drinking too much and then develop hypothermia. It doesn't take long to die from hypothermia. That's unfortunately the case. Bottom line, in many of these cases, a drug or alcohol and drugs or alcohol alone may have caused them to fall asleep or pass out, but it's the cold that killed them. Yeah, the cold that killed them. And, exposure and hypothermia, again, as you develop hypothermia, your respiratory rate decreases, your metabolic rate decreases, and eventually
he works in California. How's he giving a rendering here?
And not breathing. I assume this is why we haven't gotten the autopsy report yet then, that toxicology is in, but the autopsy is not? Right. Toxicology, they say it takes 6 to 8 weeks, but, if you have a good sample of blood, or sometimes they take fluid from the vitreous of the eye, depending, wherever it comes from, this can be done almost immediately. It's a gas chromatography, or there's other laboratory tests. Autopsies are a physical examination of the body, and it takes not a pathologist a period of time to do it. It want to be complete. Okay. Thanks so much for watching.
I don't know what I just listened to. How would you all? This doesn't make any sense. How did the cold kill them? Why would they be out in the cold? I don't understand what I just read. Because Nancy Grace, she has uploaded content as well. Let me get Latrice. Hold on, Latrice. I had your mic muted. All right, Latrice.
Hi.
Yeah, let's start with the funeral home, then we'll make our way over to this new BS here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's horrible that these families, were duped by these criminals. And what type of person does it take to know that you're not a licensed, you don't have mortuary license to deal with human bodies, and that's just sick, because he knew that he didn't have the ability to embalm them and properly store their bodies, so you're having to deal with the smell that's coming from these bodies. That is just really sick. And it's just so sad that that they had to go through this,
What do you think about all these criminal records that were listed? She's got 11 felony convictions. She's on parole until 2040. She should have a blue warrant issue, whatever that means. They said she got out on a PR bond. I got to Google that, see what that means. He's got 7 forfeitures of bonds and only got a $10,000 bond. So you only have to pay $1,000 to get out. So I don't understand these 2 different judges letting both of them out, and she's on parole. So parole for what? Theft? What?
Excuse me. Exactly. Being that she was already on parole, she should have been her parole should have been revoked, but revoked. And whatever state whom had
I bet it's in Louisiana. How much you want to bet? Right. The fact that they said they had to search to find them in that last commentary I played, they weren't even. I bet they weren't in Texas.
Right. No, because they said they had to go find both of them. But her last name Broussard, it just sounds like someone
French.
It sounds French. So like you said, more than likely
Because they had funerals on their page from Louisiana. Don't know if those were stolen too. The video footage of others, but other funerals. But
yeah,
you let them bond out, they can go underground and hide if they got some money.
Exactly. But being that she was already on parole, which means she was on probation for until the year 2040, it should have been revoked, and she should have been held so the state of Louisiana could come and pick her up and put her back into prison where she needs to be.
Yeah.
And him, how do you have 7 bond forfeitures
and then make another bond?
Yeah, and then when they pick you up, they allow you to get another bond. That's crazy.
Maybe those bonds are down in Louisiana, so we don't really know where they were arrested.
Right.
They could have been arrested in any city, and then we got to know where their charges are and bond forfeitures are.
Exactly, but that's
And what are the charges for? What are the 7 bond forfeitures for? Theft, scamming, scheming, drug charges. You know what I'm saying? We don't know.
We don't know exactly. But either way, when they ran their fingerprints, because when you go to jail, they pick you up. You're gonna get fingerprinted. When they ran it, it should have popped up in their system.
But it didn't.
He had 7 bond forfeitures.
But it couldn't have.
Well, they dropped the ball because usually when someone is
I wouldn't give you a bond if you've had 7. No,
exactly.
A bond 7 times.
Yeah, and you forfeited all of them, and then they have to come pick you up. That's like
because they gave him a bond. She gave him a bond cheaper than what he stole. This don't make no sense.
It don't make any sense.
Really, judges. That's why Houston has so much crime for this very reason. You keep letting these people get out to go out here and do something else.
Exactly.
Because let me tell you something. If you'll throw dead bodies around anywhere, you'll do it to a human that's alive.
Exactly. That's crazy. He shouldn't have been. Once they picked him up again, this last time, he shouldn't have even been allowed to get another bond.
Neither one.
He should have been.
His bond should have been higher, and she should have been remanded.
Exactly.
Well, he should have been remanded too. Really?
Yeah, 2 sick individuals, and he's going on different people's
Mama
pages.
him granny. him nana.
Yeah. He
him
looks like
an older woman.
Yeah.
Oh,
Crazy.
I can't say. Oh, wow. I just hope something comes from this, because now a new victim. I played that commentary. They got another victim. This is just so terrible. And as you see with Mr. Michael, he stole his content, and you heard people saying that during the press conference. He was showing them other people's funerals.
Yeah, he's stealing other companies, going on their different pages, and what that is, he's stealing their likeness.
Oh, you ain't about to get that. You're going to be real mad. You think your loved one going to be in a carriage. Ain't no carriage. Ain't no red carpet. Ain't no crowns. No nothing.
Right.
Because I want to know where they holding the bodies at.
Exactly. And I was thinking that lady's son, whom he had her to come view the body in the church at 9 o'clock at night. Okay, he probably been in that sitting over there in that church the whole time. That's what I'm thinking.
He was what?
That's probably where he'd been storing him the whole time.
Okay, but think about what you're saying. The church is ran by somebody, Latrice. Why would I let you keep a stinking dead body in my church? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You got to have church at some point. Wednesday night Bible study. Come on now.
Yeah.
Sunday services, Saturday service, meetings. Ain't nobody complaining to him about the body smelling?
Well, I was thinking maybe it was a church that was not in use. That's what I was thinking. Because first of
So
all,
how he talked the people into how do he contact the people if they ain't in use? You gotta have somebody to be able to contact.
well, he's a criminal, so obviously, so hell, he's probably been breaking into that. That's what I thought. Possibly.
Because it don't really make no sense.
Yeah, it's not making any sense because first of all, the church, the pastor, or the board of directors on the church, they're gonna want to know, well, why you want to bring the body to the church tonight? No one has a funeral at night.
Unless it was there earlier.
Hmm.
And that's the only time he could get up there to show the body because he's so busy running around scheming and scamming folks.
Yeah. And shoot, I would have asked him, why is my son's body already at the church? That's usually not
We're
done
gonna talk about it here in a minute, Foxfire.
unless they bring the body over to church sometime when they're getting ready to have if they're gonna have a wake. I mean, I don't know.
But look what he told that lady. Remember? Oh, if you come back tomorrow, the church still smell. It's the church that smell. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
So I'd like to hear from that church. Active. If there's an active church, why did you give this man a key or open the door to the church to let him in? How did this work? Was somebody even in the church when she went to see the body? I'm confused.
Yeah,
That's okay now.
It's very confusing.
Because we are people, we're too trusting with people. They just say something and we just go along with it.
Exactly. And then, whenever the people came back to the church, whomever came to lock the church back up, because that would have been, what do they call them? They have all these different positions, in church. But I can't think of the title. Anyway, wouldn't they have smelled that awful scent?
That's what I just said. Somebody had to open the church. How would he have access to somebody's random church? So somebody had to let him in. Okay. I'm just going to let him have the church by itself. Somebody had to be there. And that's when you're going to smell the decay.
Yeah. That's just horrible and so sad. But I just don't understand why these people. I know when you lose a loved one, that you're very vulnerable. But I just don't understand why they didn't vet,
because they're desperate. They don't have no money. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Go to people who probably talking about needing money or they've already set up arrangements. Then he come in pretending to be with that company. So it's really a double scam.
Yeah. Yeah. But my goodness, I would have never thought that people were out here doing scamming, presenting themselves to be.
Well, I've seen it in that YouTube queue. They got videos going back 12 years, girl. Stories, news stories.
Yeah, I know. I've seen.
Because they don't cremate them. They had a black man who did that down in Georgia. Then the people I just showed you here, Colorado, same thing. Oklahoma, 190 bodies stored in a building, sticking up the neighborhood. You done sent off paperwork as if they then got death certificates and all that. And them folks. Here's the question, like that woman said in the press conference: whose remains am I carrying around my neck? Same thing with the people out there in Colorado. Whose urn are you carrying of dead ashes? What is that? Some sea salt you done got from the Dollar Tree? What are we talking about?
That's what I thought. What type of ashes?
Yeah, where would you get some ashes? Where would you get something similar to say it's the person?
Exactly.
To look like a human. Because do we all know what real ashes look like? Probably not.
No, yeah. Yeah.
This is bad, bad, bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
And now he done got his page on private. Probably seen the Queen's videos and whoever else talking about him and people looking on the IG page because they got on blast now.
Right. Right. And as far as the Miss Diane and her company, Mortuary Services, yeah, no, she hasn't had anybody in years because people from whatever state not state, whichever city, I can't remember, in Texas, that her mortuary services, um her building, her company is, they've heard, people talk word of mouth, well, I use so and so family care, and they I received really bad services from them, and I wasn't satisfied. I was very disappointed. So when you get people talking, amongst themselves in the city, about different mortuary services, then you're not going to use them. So that's what it sounds like to me. She hadn't had anybody in years because no one has used her services because her services were bad. You know, um, in the city where I'm originally from, in Talladega, Alabama, there's a there were four at one time different mortuary service companies, and there's one, he's only had in all of these years that he's had his license, he's only had two bodies because no one would use it. He would have, and apparently his services weren't good. People, the people, because Talladega is a very small city. So word travels and gets around, well, I didn't like, the service that he provided for us, you know. So that's the reason why he hasn't received any, he hadn't been able to serve anyone else. And then, like you said earlier, when a family loses a loved one, we know in what city, and with the city we're living in, which company we want to use. You know what I'm saying? Whose services we want to use, and we generally call, even though we may not have the money. Like the man said, it's not always about the money. With companies, they'll usually work with you and let you know what they can do and provide for you. But they've already gone and picked up that, your loved one, because you called them and said, hey, can you da 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 da, because they can't just go and pick that body up without it can't be released to them without the family saying so. you know it's crazy.
I'm listening to you. I'm trying to see if I can find something on this dizzy ass woman here. What's her name? Sandy. All right, everybody. I see y'all down there in the chat. Hold on. You ready for the next story?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yes.
Well, they've got the toxicology reports back.
So what they find?
Out in the backyard of a Northland home. I'm John Holt.
And I'm Christelle Bell. The toxicology report is in police hands tonight. Fox 4's Malik Jackson joins us now live from KCPD headquarters. Malik, what are you learning about that report that's out?
John and Christelle, we have confirmed with multiple sources that the families of Clayton McGinney, Ricky Johnson, and David Harrington were notified earlier this afternoon by detectives that the toxicology report is complete. Now, it is important to note that these reports are very detailed, so what has been given to these families is preliminary. But what we do know is that there were several substances found to be in these men's bodies, including the presence of cocaine. Now let's take a step back here, because we were given the timeline about 6 to 8 weeks as to when we would get these results back. We haven't even passed the 4th week mark just yet. Moving forward, this will allow KCPD to finish their investigation and pass this case off to prosecutors. It's crucial that we know that this comes one day after these families, in fact, met with the prosecuting attorney there in Platte County. After that meeting, these families said that they were satisfied. And one day later, here we are with these reports. We reached out to KCPD. They had little to say about this development, but they did confirm that they have been in contact with these men's families. Now, there is an important person when we talk about next steps, and that is Jordan Willis, the man who lived inside of this home. Yesterday, we reported that he checked into rehab, and now we have these toxicology reports detailing what may have happened to his 3 friends. We also do know from a source that they have determined a cause of death, but they have not released that just yet. We reached out to Jordan Willis's attorney, and at this time, we have not heard back. John, Christelle.
Malik, you mentioned originally we were thinking 6 to 8 weeks on this toxicology report, which is pretty typical. All of a sudden, it shows up. Any indication as to why? Was it expedited for some reason?
That's a question that we at this time really don't have an answer to, because as you know, through our reporting, we have reached out to the medical examiner multiple times, and each time we reached out, they had the same line that no one person's death is more important than another person's death. So this was going to take the standard amount of time, from 6 to 8 weeks. But as we mentioned, this is less than 4 weeks, and this case has drawn national attention, and it has been very important for police and for prosecutors to get these results as far as what the next steps would be. But again, you'd have to believe that they did expedite this process, because from everything we heard since the day that these men were found, is that these reports would take 6 to 8 weeks. But again, here we are, less than 4 weeks from when they were found in the backyard of that Northland home. We have these toxicology reports.
All right, Malik Jackson, live at KCPD headquarters tonight. Malik, thanks.
Fox 4 News is the storyline, is the source. I'm going to share this to my page so everyone can be aware of the said information. Latrice? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to take my mic off for just a second. I got to get me something parched. Go ahead. Cocaine in the system and other substances coming to the 4th week of the investigation. The toxicology reports. So these guys obviously had cocaine in their system. And that one doctor who is not on the case, he's out of California. I don't know what he's talking about. They froze to death. Well, this guy didn't say they froze to death. He just said preliminary cocaine and other substances. So go ahead. Take it away. I got to step away for a second.
So their the toxicology results, they were rushed. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So that's what he was saying. Were they expedited? But the coroner, medical examiner said, well, everybody's important. We don't push one before the other.
Oh,
you believe that?
No.
Okay.
I absolutely do not, because it takes 4 weeks to get toxicology results back. The detectives asked them to rush those results, and a lot of times they know the some they have connections with different people who works at these labs, and they'll ask them to rush the results. Mm-hmm. But I wonder what all the other substances were that were besides, we know it's alcohol, because of course we know they were drinking. But I really wonder what the other things were that they found, substances were that they found. But the cocaine, it might have been. I think they call it a bad batcher. They didn't cut it right. Who the person, whomever the drug dealer, didn't cut it right or something. Mm-hmm. And it causes people to overdose on it. But figured for myself, listening to Jordan's lawyer when they asked, and I think it was Ashley Banfield when she asked him if there were any drugs um, being used at the gathering. He said he didn't want to comment on that at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Led me further to believe, that's that was him with that statement that he made. That's it. That told me that Jordan had already told him yes that they were using drugs. But he didn't want to he didn't want to put it out there, but you know. Now the question is, how are they gonna prove where they got these where they got the drugs from? Did they bring the drugs with them? Or did one of the other two provide the drugs and the other substances? And I still believe that how they wound up outside, and it's just my opinion or assumption, is that they couldn't breathe and they, all stepped outside, like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. So they, you can't breathe. It's the body's natural, um, it's natural for you to want to step outside so you can get some more oxygen and try to breathe in, and it just didn't work. Maybe the other two who were further out into the yard, maybe they ran out there. But this is a really wild story.
Sorry about that. Now recap what you were saying.
I've never heard of anybody getting drunk or having too much to drink and then going outside and freezing to death.
I don't either. That doctor's not on the case, so I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He acts like he's the coroner. He's not the coroner, so
right.
He can't give no comment about outside or nothing else.
Exactly. And that just sounds really crazy. I mean, hey.
Cocaine. Other substances. What do you think about that?
Like I said, I think maybe the cocaine wasn't cut right. And I wonder what those other substances were. And if they found I'm confused because if you found out that they found cocaine.
It was Foxfire. Did you hear that though? To get it to the prosecution.
Huh? What'd you say?
Somebody in the chat was talking about something about the prosecution. Excuse me. I still said you got to prove he gave them the drugs. No matter what the family and friends are saying, they have to have proof. They can't have proof on gossip and his title as a scientist. We have to have something on this man to say he gave them a lethal concoction of something.
Exactly. Because they may have
had stuff before they got there. Exactly.
Yeah, before they got there. Because like I had said earlier in last week, I found it strange that men of their age, fully grown adult men, had access to his home when he wasn't there. Yeah. So I felt like that's the reason why their families didn't know that they, did drugs, because they would go to his house to get high. He said that they had access.
But who's going to tell their parents they get high?
He wasn't there.
But who's going to tell their parents they use drugs?
No one.
I'm not going to tell my parent I get high.
Exactly.
Excuse me.
But I think the girlfriend knew.
Which girlfriend? The one that broke in?
Yeah, the one that broke in. And the other one as well. I think they knew. I mean, because you're in a relationship with someone, she may not have known what he was getting high, what drug of choice he used. But come on, being in a relationship with somebody, you're not gonna keep being able to hide that you're high.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Now imagine these guys holding down jobs, as I said in the live earlier. The cousin had the nerve to say on that live, on that feed on the news, that he don't care so long as he showed up. But you should care. That don't make no sense to even say no mess like that. What you mean?
Exactly.
You don't care. You're supposed to always care about your who you work with, employees showing up sober. That's how people get hurt. That's how the job gets done incorrectly. Shoddy jobs because the people are under the influence. Do I really want somebody putting down flooring that's inebriated under the influence of cocaine and other substances? Hell no. Drunk? Hell no. So that was a stupid comment to make on the news. Just so long as you show up. That's why I said I believe they had already known that them guys use drugs. That's why I said that. I've said that for the past 2 weeks.
Exactly.
How do we know that they don't already know they get high? They just didn't want to say it on the news.
Exactly.
Now all the blame's being put on Mr. excuse me, Mr. Scientist. But then I said the flip side of that is that fair to him? Because these are all grown people. This is not like we're talking about 15-year-olds, 13-year-olds getting high.
Exactly.
It's your choice to imbibe in anything. Alcohol, cigarettes, black and miles, blunt, weed, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And for all we know, they were getting high before he even came back and moved back to Kansas City. See, he just moved back a few years ago. So where do you put the blame? Because like I said, everybody's going to have their interpretation on who we blame in this situation. These are grown men making a sound decision to get high. And if they had addictions before he came on board, they were going to get drugs wherever, whether Jordan was giving it to them, selling it, or whatever.
Exactly.
But then you got to ask that question. Who was an addict? Which one was an addict? Which one was experimenting? Which one had a real habit? Just saying.
They said they were, really tight.
Yeah.
And
look how sad that is. Tight as in getting high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because birds of a feather.
Excuse me.
You usually hang out with the same drug addicts. Usually,
as somebody said, as Pinto said earlier, birds of a feather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, birds of a feather flock together.
That was their common denominator. They like to get high together. Not just they were friends from high school. All y'all got high, and they probably been getting high since they were young. You don't wake up at almost 40 getting high.
Exactly, especially starting to try something like cocaine. Cocaine, mushrooms.
It's not saying that it ain't never happened, but if you getting high at 36, 37, 38, you've been getting high.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And you already have your choice of drugs or what.
Amen.
What
say that.
Like, snort, smoke, or what, poke, or whatever.
Shoot it up, right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So they probably, already had the cocaine with them. You can't just blame Jordan and say, well, because he's the scientist, he's the one, who gave the drugs to them. Well, no.
No, that's why I said you got to prove that. You got to prove that.
And you can't blame Alex either. You'd have to prove that Alex or Jordan is the one who bought the drugs. Mm-hmm. And then they all partook in it.
Yeah. Because now that we know that he checked himself in the rehab, so that means he's admitting to himself he has a problem. Or what if it's a ruse? What if he really don't get high? What if he's just a mixture? He's just a mixed boy. See, I'm weighing everything. Yeah. Maybe because I told you for him to go into rehab, he maybe already known the bang was coming with the toxicology reports. Somebody didn't already notified his attorney. This is just yesterday. So somebody didn't call him and told him, hey, they're getting ready to release this. So maybe he thought, okay, I'm gonna go and make it look like I got a damn problem. Who's to say if he even has a problem? See, you really don't know, because people will do anything to get out of being arrested and or brought up on charges. For all we know, he don't really get high. Could just be, I'm going in this rehab, make it look like I get high too.
Right. Or maybe he you know, it could be like they had said, that he was an alcoholic. So
could be. Because you're right, because addiction is addiction. It don't mean you are necessarily on fentanyl, crack, cocaine.
Right.
Gotta see.
Right.
Gotta see what his addiction is. So that's so true. Doesn't necessarily have to be drugs, could be alcohol. Wow, wow, wow. Because you still gotta say, he get high, why he ain't dead? Just say it. Alex ain't dead. Because we don't even have information to say that Alex gets high.
Right.
He's texting people to say, oh, they over here getting high. Why is he telling people what they doing over there? So is he condoning it, or he just saying, hey, this is what we got going on right now?
It sounds like he's saying that's what they had going on. Because for him to say, you know, because they were saying, which that's a rumor, you know, it's been rumored that Alex was the one telling the family that it was fentanyl.
Okay.
So for him to say that, if in fact he did say that, then he knew, because he was sitting there watching them.
That's what you're trying to tell everybody. Don't try to act like Alex don't know nothing. Y'all better wake up. You don't know what somebody know, because for all we know, some shit popped off and Alex was still there, and he didn't want to go down in flames with his dead friends and that other Jordan person and whoever the fuck else was in there. That's why I keep trying to tell folks, if y'all would get your thumbs out your asses and think, a lot of crimes happen where there are lots of witnesses. People just won't talk. You see it all the time when they come forward 10, 15 years later telling somebody, yeah, I was there. I helped carry the body. I helped shovel the dirt. I helped hold them underwater. And you sitting here don't have no idea what happened to this person. They went missing or they came floating up. You don't even know that 3 or 4 people drowned.
Exactly.
I don't trust nobody.
Said people don't talk. You know, they won't come forward because they're afraid. You know, they don't want to be involved in it.
They don't. Friends are not. And let me tell you something. That's the true test of friendship. Some shit pop off, you OD. Who gonna try to resuscitate you? Who gonna call 911 and sit there and wait?
Exactly. I would say that tells me. That speaks volumes as to how close of friends they were. Because I had a friend, and I didn't
excuse me,
you know, get high. You know, I had my little drink or whatever. But you know, I would go to her house and she was addicted to cocaine. I would, you know, go with her. Yeah, I would go with her to pick it up. And
oh my goodness. You testifying, Latrice. Why would you go with her to get cocaine?
Well, because it was a friend of hers. They had been friends for a long time, so, and I knew.
Well, what I'm saying is, so set it up for me. She would just, y'all would be already at her house or your house, and she said, "Hey, I need to go get me a little something."
Yeah, I would either be at her house, and she would say, you know, come on, ride with me. You know, I'm going over to someone's house.
And you weren't worried about getting caught up?
Well,
you know what I mean. No, I'm just saying. I'm not judging, but I'm just saying. You know, it's a risk to get in somebody's car, and you know they're getting ready to go buy some dope.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
so
hello, ladies.
Hey, Foxy, hold on one second, Foxy. So after you and her got the dope, where did y'all go?
She would go back to her house, and then she'd sit down.
And you go back to her house with her?
Yeah, if I was over there visiting, you know what I'm saying?
So this is what I'm trying to understand. Were y'all together at the time that she said, I want to go buy me some dope?
Yeah, I would already be at her house.
Okay, so y'all go get the dope, go back to the house, you drinking and she getting high.
Sometimes, and then sometimes I wasn't drinking. She was addicted to it. So I was just sitting there and we'd be talking, conversating because we were
But did she
friends.
do it in front of you, Latrice?
She did. She did. And then after she did it, she'd always, oh my God, my sinuses. Well, yeah, your sinuses. So you
I guess so. Well, she was snorting it.
yeah,
Girl, I'm dead.
Dude.
These last $2 I'm not gonna lose. Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, that's crazy.
Latrice, you up here testifying. Latrice, guess what? You're a lawyer.
Testifying.
Yeah, you testifying in court. Ain't got an attorney. Up here. With your government name up there. I be damn.
Oh my God.
You forgot about that. With that name you got up there.
Yeah, well, she's passed out now. And I
Oh,
wasn't with
shit. Yeah, oh, so now the girl dead. I'm dead. Girl.
Oh, God.
What else you want to say, Latrice, before I let Foxy talk? Lord have mercy. Hey.
Oh, Lord. Hey, girls. Yeah, look, I don't know. It's more common. And, I remember going into the clubs and I'd walk into a bathroom and there'd be a girl in there and another girl in there. I'll be hovering around and, go over to the sink and they're snorting it up. And I'm just like, what? I do not remember that
Foxy,
when I was younger.
Foxy, tell me where you're from and how old are you?
Okay, so I'm 49, right? So I grew up like kind of, in the like drinking, and my friends would be people in the front drinking, people in the back smoking weed. Like that's how I, at the parties, right? But when I got older and I'd go out with, thinking I was still young, but I wasn't. And then I, with friends, because, you don't want to, thinking you're getting old, but you are. And then you realize you're the oldest one in the room. It's time to, stop going to the clubs.
Wait, slow down. Where you say you're from?
Oh, I'm from Canada. Sorry.
Oh my God. You know, I got the strangest sense of deja vu right now.
Well, yeah, because I came on your panel before.
Yeah, but it's like I've been in your house. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe spiritually.
No, it's a dream.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? We all dream sometimes of each other. It's true. Sometimes you don't know what. Anyway, but
that's
yeah,
why I said that because I'm looking in the background. You got blinds up in the background.
Oh, that's my dad's old house. Yeah, he lived out. I live in Nova Scotia.
I've been in a dream. I've been in a dream. I think with you in a house.
Interesting. I had a visitation before he passed, and it was in that room. In that room with the yellow walls. Yep. Wow. And I remember looking up at the bed and I, coming to wake up and I'm thinking, where'd that person go? That person was just sitting right there. And I couldn't tell if it was a male or a female, but but I didn't feel like it was a bad presence. So I just said, Anyway, I'm getting all sidetracked.
No, we're fine. Go ahead. Say what you want. What you want to address? You want to address my funeral home stuff or you addressing this cocaine?
Well, kind of both, because they're both kind of messed up.
Well, let's start with the first one. Let's start with the Broussard and Major and the guy had up here who he stole his advertisement.
Yeah. So this is all new to me. Like I know there's a lot of scam artists out there, but I would never have thought that someone would go that low to do that sort of thing to a person. Like I can't believe it that this is actually happening, and for you to bring it forward, like if you hadn't said anything, I probably would never have known about it. And it probably happens so more often than
it's
people
been going
think.
on. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, a couple of years.
Yeah. But it's astounding to me because, people are grieving and, like I said in chat, I lost my father a couple of years ago. And it was hard. It was hard to, you're grieving, you're all upset, you can't believe in all this, and you're going through all the things with, help, getting them to that point, and then your family and friends, and you go to a funeral home, and then to find out that your $2,000-3,000, sometimes $50,000-$60,000 is gone. And then like what do these people do when they realize that their death certificates are fake, and where's their loved one? Like how does that even work?
This is why you go to a legitimate funeral home with a reputation of doing right, and you let them know when you sitting up in there, I don't want no hanky panky. They'll get the point.
Yeah, but it's not right. It's so wrong. Anyway, I mean, listen, I don't think we should be. I mean, what it irritates me. I get so irritable when I think about it because
We shouldn't have to, first of all, pay to have our children and then pay to bury our loved ones. That's wrong. First of all, on every count. And
But somebody
then
got to do it because you got to have a memorial garden. See, everything's about money. Just blinking and opening your eyes. You understand what I'm saying? It's about money. I don't care what you're doing. A car, a place to live. You're just sitting here right now, just really living to pay another motherfucker to eat.
Ain't that right?
It's just shameful, but it's the world we're in.
That's right. We're in the matrix. But, you know, and I think that's why people escape. They want to escape and do these hard drugs and just, you know, numb out, because it can be probably, I mean, listen, I've had my trials.
They got children, Foxy. This ain't no, see, Guinea was single. He could do what he wants. If he want to fuck off, that's on him. The mother had children.
That's right. That's right. But I mean, you know, sometimes you get, you know, like with your boys, I'm sure, and they're all sitting around, oh, come on, you know, and then you get into the whole reminiscing, I was in high school phenomena.
I ain't getting ready to snort no cocaine to talk about
Me neither. Me neither. But if they did it, before, maybe it was like a, hey, like, let's, you know, like for old time's sake.
They've been doing it. They've been doing it. They probably been doing it. 36 to 38, more than likely, they've been getting high. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
That's probably what the bond is really about. Hate to say it.
Well, that's like somebody else said on another channel. They were saying how, you know, he might have been the friend, you know, that nerd friend in high school that, you know, like the cook, the mixer, you know, sat around and did whatever, and then that was his kind of, you know, friendship in the friendship of friendships, and then whoever all was in that house was like, oh, he's going to be there. Yes,
the matrix mixer. He knew how to shit, bring some new shit to the table. Yeah, but the shit he probably knew was the kind that get you where you at, face down.
I know.
Because let's be truthful, you can get face down without scientific extra whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Well, let me ask you this: how do you feel about he gave him the drugs? Should he be liable for manslaughter as if anybody else? You gave somebody the drugs, you go down for the charge. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree wholeheartedly.
Even if you didn't know it was tainted, even if you didn't try to poison him.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Yes and no, because they're also a participant in this, right? Now, like if they now say, for example, they were passing around a joint and this guy thought it would be a hilarious joke to lace it with coke, that's a different story.
Okay,
but if
and
they
that's where
willingly,
it goes to be saying, how
that's
you
where it goes sideways, right?
How you gonna prove it?
You can't
That's
prove
my
it.
point. Exactly. See, I think what's going to happen is everybody putting the blame on him because he's the mixer, and maybe he did give him drugs and provided drugs. But let's be truthful. Let's think about that. How boring is that gonna get? I'm always a motherfucker bringing the damn drugs. Excuse my language. Y'all ain't got no money. Y'all better wake up.
Yeah, I don't
Think
know.
about it. Do I really want to be the person that's always supplying the cocaine, the fentanyl? How's that gonna work?
Hell no. I don't know, but they just busted a shit ton up at the border in Manitoba in Canada, and it was something like the equivalent of like, don't quote me on this, but in my mind's eye, I'm just thinking like $160 million worth of this shit right at the border.
I can buy. I got a whole house and a car and a Range Rover off that dope money. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, it's just crazy.
I'm eating steak. What you eating tomorrow? Steak. It's a bad joke. Steak.
Yeah, I know. Lobster.
Where you at? Wig shop.
Wig shop. Yeah, get my extensions done and my nails every day. Lashes. Yeah, I know.
You're doing a whole lot with that.
But you know what, though? That is a lifestyle. But some people hide that shit so on the down low that you don't even know they're that type of a person, right? Like, it's crazy. So anybody could have an issue. Now, am I saying it's a wrong? No, because some people can get, you know, caught up in that life and you know, and they get out of it and they try to change your life. Like you said before, people can change. They can do better, right? They can be better people and move on.
So many people have changed.
Right. But in this situation, I feel like I think all these guys were sitting around reminiscent, hey, let's do one like old times. Didn't know the tolerance, and then they did too much. They went outside because they're all hot and bothered from being, whatever cocaine does to you.
But I still think they used. I think they used regardless. I just refuse to believe this is just one time that somebody decided to bring some cocaine to the table. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I do see that too. I see that too. I see that. I see both sides
I don't
of
see
it.
that this is no one-time event because the cousin says that's really what Jordan is known for. He's the mixer. He's the provider. So
chemist,
I
yeah.
don't think if we're going to believe this cousin, then that means these guys have been getting high and Jordan too.
So this wasn't just like a get-together reunion boys weekend. Like these guys knew each other. They hung together all the time.
All
Okay,
the
yeah.
time.
All right. Well then, yeah.
That's
there
why I
you
said
go.
that might be the common denominator. It ain't about no football. It's about us geeking.
Football. Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. You're
It ain't
right.
about no damn football. Shit, who got the dope? You feel me?
Yeah, I know. I'll talk about watching Jeopardy.
It's like
God help me.
It's like a 500-pound story of shit. Who got the cheesecake? We want to know who got the cheesecake. Big guns and big boys want to know where the cheesecake, where the chicken wings at. With them, who got the cocaine?
Right. Like one of those office meetings. You only go for the muffins and coffee.
I ain't heard a word they said. You want me to do that? You want me to make my quota? Hold on a minute. Anybody got any coffee? Hazelnut?
Exactly. Pass the milk. I know. But you know what though? I don't mean to laugh because it's a sad situation. I mean, these poor families lost. They lost their people, right? It's not right.
But the thing I'm trying to focus on is that no matter what, these are still grown people who 9 times out of 10 been getting high without Jordan. That's what people need to focus on.
Yes.
Because at first, it's easy to blame him when we heard he was a scientist. The theories, he could have done something. He could have laced something. It could have been revenge. It could have been all that. I don't know. But you also still have to remember, if you want to go on TV and say, we know he does this, he supplies the drugs, that leads me to believe, okay, then your family like to get high. So you can't put it all off on Jordan at that point.
Exactly. And they might be just shifting it on him because he has that degree.
Exactly. That's what I was
and
saying
somebody
too.
else at that party was
exactly.
Because
we don't know where the dope came from. We don't even know
right.
what they're talking about. You talking about cocaine and other substances. Okay, well, then you mixing in beer, alcohol, liquor.
Well, whatever it was that knocked that man out for how many hours was it, he said?
If we don't know
if
that.
It's true, but he claims that his statement was that he was knocked out for.
Yeah, 11, but he didn't say I was knocked out on the drugs.
No.
See, there's a difference.
Yeah. But listen, if they all passed out from some type of thing that was cut with it, or
that's where he looks. That's where he looks guilty. He's alive and they ain't.
Right.
You check yourself.
So what was different about him?
What I'm saying,
compared to what those guys?
You are drug addicts. So are you a drug addict or a alcoholic? What are you exactly?
Well, I mean, I remember being at parties and, there'd be a couple of local, I'm not going to say drug dealers per se, but, boys that will float around, you offering up whatever, but they never touched their product. You know what I mean? They always walked out of there.
They make no money when you dig in the sack.
They weren't swaggering anywhere at the club.
Latrice, you know what I'm saying?
Counting their money. You know what I mean? So for him to be alive, it also casts more. Yeah, cast more shade on him like that too as well.
Right.
Latrice.
Yes.
What do you think, Latrice?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you ain't saying nothing.
I'm listening.
But let's be truthful. Everybody knows that in the dope game, you cannot be successful if you're digging in the sack yourself.
Correct.
Right, because you won't make any money.
Yeah, you cannot be your best customer. You understand?
No.
I've heard young
from my
men
understanding.
say, I bought up enough weed. I bought me some weed to sell, but I got to have me a few little smokes. Well, baby, you're going to be broke because if you like to smoke, how you going to make money if you digging in the sack? Oh, it don't make no sense.
Well, I mean, a lot of these guys are businessmen too. It's like any kind of business. You know what I mean? Like you don't, excuse the expression, but you know what I'm about to say about where you eat, right? So I mean, it's kind of like, right, and so you take that and put it against the person that so it does cast a lot of shade on this guy.
But he might be, like you said, completely innocent of all of this shit, and he had no idea what was going on. He was just like a bystander, coincidental thing. And I mean, I remember when I was in my early,
I don't believe that. I don't believe
20s.
that.
No, but I mean, listen,
I believe he knew fully well they were dead because he had too many conflicting stories. Had he stuck to the same story, he might have been more believable.
Correct.
He might have been more believable. But when you start changing the stories, that's showing that you're deceptive. And then we have to say, well, why are you deceptive?
Exactly.
Right. Why are you
Because he
being
saw them
deceiving?
die.
Yes.
He saw them overdose. He panicked. I got to get the hell out this situation. Okay, we got to put them outside. I refuse to believe that they was outside, really.
Well, when you said that the
Damn
drag motion, when you said like he
No.
could have been that made me think, because I didn't even think of that at first. I was like, oh, these guys went out to have a cigarette or whatever and passed out in the snow and they died and whatever because whatever they were smoking was something was laced in it, or that was my first impression, like hard drugs.
The only way I can see that they died outside is if somebody said, "Hey man, come on, let's smoke a cigarette outside."
Right.
When the man didn't want something in his house.
Right.
So then and then somebody say, "Hey, I got a little something."
Mm-hmm.
And then
Right. And then Jordan goes upstairs, falls asleep. Maybe he's drunk as all hell. Maybe they've been on a bender for 2 days. Who knows how long this, he could have been drinking forever. Passes out, sleeps for 2 days because he's got a hangover, and maybe he just been up for 24 or 48 hours. You don't know how people roll when, you know what I mean? Like,
and I've mentioned that too. Blinds up, blinds down. I've met people who keep a dark house even when it's summertime. They don't let no sunlight in.
Right. So
Let me ask you this: what is your
things.
theory with what's been said now of cocaine and other substances in the men's system? What is your theory at this moment?
It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for Mr. Jordan, but I don't think that if they prosecuted him, they'd have a hope in hell in proving anything, because we don't know if he was tested. We don't know if anything was taken
We don't
from
really
the
know
home.
what they took out the house.
Right. But I caught him, that Malik person on that news channel. I caught him saying that they rushed the results to the prosecution. So there must be somebody trying to prosecute somebody.
Did they say that? I thought somebody asked, "Do you think they did that?"
No, I could have swore that's what he said. Let's go back and listen to it.
Okay, hold on.
I hope I'm wrong, because that doesn't look good.
3 men found in the backyard of a Northland home. I'm John Holt.
And I'm Christelle Bell. The toxicology report is in police hands tonight. Fox 4's Malik Jackson joins us now live from KCPD headquarters. Malik, what are you learning about that report that's out?
John and Christelle, we have confirmed with multiple sources that the families of Clayton McGinney, Ricky Johnson, and David Harrington were notified earlier this afternoon by detectives that the toxicology report is complete. Now, it is important to note that these reports are very detailed, so what has been given to these families is preliminary. But what we do know is that there were several substances found to be in these men's bodies, including the presence of cocaine. Now let's take a step back here, because we were given the timeline about 6 to 8 weeks as to when we would get these results back. We haven't even passed the 4th week mark just yet. Moving forward, this will allow KCPD to finish their investigation and pass this case off to prosecutors. It's crucial that we know that this comes one day after these families, in fact, met with the prosecuting attorney there in Platte County. After that meeting concluded, these families said that they were satisfied, and one day later, here we are with these reports. We reached out to KCPD. They had little to say about this development, but they did confirm that they have been in contact with these men's families. Now, there is an important person when we talk about next steps, and that is Jordan Willis, the man who lived inside of this home. Yesterday, we reported that he checked into rehab, and now we have these toxicology reports detailing what may have happened to his 3 friends. We also do know from a source that they have determined a cause of death, but they have not released that just yet.
Oh, they do have it.
Jordan
Okay.
Willis's attorney. At this time, we have not heard back. John, Christelle.
Malik, you mentioned recently we were thinking 6 to 8 weeks on this toxicology report, which is pretty typical. All of a sudden, it shows up. Any indication as to why? Was it expedited for some reason?
That's a question that we at this time really don't have an answer to, because as you know, through our reporting, we had reached out to the medical examiner multiple times, and each time we reached out, they had the same line that no one person's death is more important than another person's death. So that this was going to take the standard amount of time from 6 to 8 weeks. But as we mentioned, this is less than 4 weeks, and this case has drawn national attention, and it has been very important for police and for prosecutors to get these results as far as what the next steps would be. But again, you'd have to believe that they can expedite this process, because from everything we heard,
let's go right back there. He said he don't know, but he's saying they must have
drawn national attention, and it has been very important for police and for prosecutors to get these results as far as what the next steps would be. But again, you'd have to believe that they did expedite this process, because from everything we heard since the day that these men were found is that these reports would take 6 to 8 weeks. But again, here we are, less than 4 weeks from when they were found in the backyard of that Northland home. We have these toxicology reports.
All right, Malik Jackson, live at KCPD headquarters tonight. Malik, thanks.
So
Police
basically,
and prosecutor. Yeah. So I think he was just maybe I got it wrong.
4 weeks from when the 7th is when they met up and then found on the 9th. Then you got to let the bodies get in there and do the autopsies and then send the toxicology off. So you're almost talking about 4 weeks. Maybe they finally came back, and maybe that's the reason why Jordan is in the rehab. So let's talk about why Jordan is in the rehab. Do you believe his lawyer contacted him to tell him they got the reports back? It ain't looking good.
Well, I mean, I could speculate a lot of theories, but my gut says that, I think his lawyer said, look, this is the best look for you. We got to get you in the rehab. Okay. Now, maybe he was addicted as well and thought, hey, I don't want to end up like my friend.
I'm saying, do you believe somebody contacted the lawyer to tell him this is about to be released?
Yeah.
Huh?
I mean, listen, if he's a lawyer, of course they'd have to, would they not?
Well,
because
I'm asking you, do you think his lawyer was contacted?
Yeah, I do, because you know what? If his lawyer is the one representing him as the person involved in all of this, then he would be the one to advocate for him, right? So they would have to contact the lawyer, not him personally, is my thought.
Let me ask you something. Do you believe he told his lawyer everything that happened in that house?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Latrice?
Yes, I do. I believe he told him everything that happened.
Okay. What happened in the house?
We don't know. They were drinking. They were getting high.
Okay. Do you believe he saw them overdose, Latrice?
I do.
Okay. Foxy?
I believe he saw them overdose.
I don't know. I'm on the fence with that one.
Okay. Do you believe he was taking the same drugs they were taking? Latrice?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I do not.
Foxy?
Yeah,
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I keep seeing them smoking it like crack, not pure cocaine, but like a crack for like something, like in a, like a bowl
So
or whatever.
So you think they took crack and other shit? Like what?
Yes, I don't know, but it was somehow like in one of those things with the water and everything and lighting it up. That's what I think they were doing it like that, like hits,
Well, you don't believe Jordan did anything? He didn't take nothing that night.
No, I do. I think he did. But is it possible that they were passing around this paraphernalia that had residue in it from something else? When they got down to the bottom, they were like, "Hey, let's go outside and spark it up." And he went to bed, and maybe he had no clue. And then,
Latrice,
I don't know.
I don't know, because, like I said, I didn't. So, they could have been all, snorting and stuff like that, and doing whatever other substances that they found in their bodies in the toxicology report. But it doesn't necessarily mean that Jordan did it as well.
Let's talk about Alex. What does Alex know?
Alex knows a lot. Alex, he knows a lot. Because
was Alex there when the men died, Latrice?
I think he was, and I think he jetted out of there.
Foxy?
I think he left before all that went down.
Really? Why? Why you say that?
I don't know. My gut I just have this like feeling like I see him being in the room with these guys, right? And they're getting kind of crazy.
Do you believe Alex uses Foxy?
Yes.
Latrice?
Yeah, I do, but
okay.
I don't.
I mean, just obviously we're all speculating here, but yeah, my gut says that he does. But they were getting out of control, kind of maybe getting aggressive. Cocaine can do that to some people, and getting high, crazy, and maybe broke out into some kind of argument. And he's like, "I'm out, I'm out, I'm out," and left.
or some other hanky panky stuff going on.
Altercation over something, and he left. Maybe.
No, not an
I ain't going. No, I'm not doing. Do not take me there. I'm not. No. You can say it. I'm not saying it.
Let's just keep it real. We've heard of men turning and doing stuff when they get high.
Right.
That's not no myth. That's facts.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of men have turned to the same sex when getting high. I was speaking of somebody who I know. He gets high and he'll say, "That's what I want him to do." Suck my thing. So I'm like, huh? So the first thing I'm saying, listen.
Crack me
So
up.
what I'm trying to understand is, why would smoking crack make you want a man to give you head? I don't understand. That's the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. I didn't understand.
Maybe he couldn't pay for it.
Listen,
maybe they all paid, but he couldn't.
So what I'm trying to understand is, are you telling us you like men? Because that makes no sense. You can go get a woman to get high with and ask her to give you oral sex. Why must the guy give you oral sex? So he'll say, well, he want to get high with me. I ain't about to give my dope up for free. So he got to do something. That's the craziest shit I ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything like that going on, honestly. I really don't. I don't think there's anything like that. I think there were too many alphas, at that party.
But I think but listen, I think one is not alpha. The chemist.
Well, listen, I don't know. Again, we're all speculating, but
I'm just saying. The chemist may not be all alpha.
Well, I mean, listen, to each their own if that's the case, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying.
Amen.
Well, I mean, honestly, like, who cares? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, why did he survive and the others didn't?
I'm just speaking in general that all types of crazy nonsense goes on when people use drugs. That's where I'm trying to go.
Oh yeah, that's
true. Do all kind of things.
Even people that are drunk act stupid. Oh, I'm crying because my boyfriend left me. Blah, blah. Sitting on the edge of a, drunk out of the club on the floor, on your ass, getting a bladder infection, and your shoes are in your hand, and your purse, you can't find it, and your friend's done left you. I mean, listen, this shit happens, and guys are no different. They probably, get all kinds of crazy, but
I mean, that they roughhouse, they like to push, they like to, crack real bad jokes, and like I said, who's to say it wasn't something
each other.
Jumped off, somebody said something the other one don't like. I mean, you never know.
You don't know.
Yeah, you
don't know. But here's the weird thing: is like, I think that kind of stuff happened, and I think Alex character said, I'm out and left. He left. They started because I think, I think that a lot of people left like early, like not super late, and so when these guys were still, how sometimes at the end of a party you have the hanger-oners, like 3 or 4 people still behind. They do a bit more whatever they're doing. Maybe it's drinking, maybe it's weed, maybe it's not, maybe it's whatever. And then, what usually the host gives up and they just go to bed. The other people keep going. I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen.
Okay.
And
so let me ask you something. Did they die inside or outside, Foxy?
I think they honestly died outside. I do.
Why would they be out there, honey? Why would they be
outside? They could be out having a cigarette, all 3 of them, high as hell, standing there, not feeling like it's cold, because sometimes, you don't feel the cold when I know, for example, when I was out drinking with my girlfriends, we'd be out without our coat on, smoking outside like idiots, laughing, carrying on in the freaking winter.
But at
You know,
some
but we
point,
go
listen, even
at
even
some
drunk,
point.
at some point you will go back in, girl.
Correct. But guess what? They were on something else, and they said other substances. We don't know what those other substances could be, right? Could be fent, like you said earlier. It could be something else. Could
So
be
it
whatever.
just seems strange to me. 3 people,
Yeah.
even if they took the same drug, I still just can't see just dying outside.
I don't either. It's weird.
It's a difference if they were cooking, grilling on the grill. They had a fire pit set up. They were
And they all
geeking and
passed
getting
out
high
at the same time.
around the table or something. I can see people falling out because we
And that's
outside doing stuff.
yeah, and that's the other thing too, is that like how did they all like that they all just dropped at the
This
same
makes no sense
time?
to me.
It makes no sense because if something happened, you'd be like, "Hey, my friends, banging on the door, banging on the window. Hey, help! Running outside, climbing, jumping a fence, something to get help." So clearly, they all just like, boom.
Yeah, boom.
See, somebody, Happy Hippie said, I just read it was cocaine, fent, and THC, so weed. Yeah.
Oh, so they was just geeked up.
They were geeking, and also they could have all rolled that up into a joint too, right?
So you were trying like you were trying to go somewhere to the morgue, I guess.
Maybe. Damn.
They overdosed.
And then you're drinking too.
They said the high from
I've
cocaine doesn't last that long.
I've never done it. I don't know what it's like. But I read though that fentanyl, like just
Well,
the
that's about what took them
pinprick
out,
can
not the
kill you.
cocaine.
I
Cocaine
think so
probably didn't do it.
too.
It's that fentanyl.
I think the fent killed them instant because
If that's what was in it, that's what did it.
Yeah, because I've never known
had to
anybody
be.
overdose on weed unless it was laced with something else, laced with crack or laced with cocaine or LSD, or some other. But just weed alone, no one has ever overdosed on weed.
No, but but there have been certain people that have gone into psychosis on weed, right? So you can't say that it's never affected people different.
I've
But
never heard of it.
generally, yes.
I think she's talking about dying.
Oh yeah, no. But here's the thing though, like, say what if this Jordan character went to bed and, these 3 guys, they're already drunk as hell and high, whatever the hell. I'm like, oh, looking around, find a secret stash of some pre-rolled stuff that maybe had some fent in it. And they all went outside thinking it was hilarious, smoke it so he doesn't smell it, and they'll drop.
Well, I guess anything's possible.
But then how the hell does that man get dragged on the... Oh, I can't. It's around and around, isn't it? Merry-go-round. I'm just thinking, how does he get dragged out like that onto the... How do you get on the lawn like that?
Well, 2 on the lawn and 1's in a chair. The big boy Harrington,
2 on the lawn.
hair, he's in a chair.
God.
The other big guy and McGinney, they're on the ground.
Yeah, I can't get over that. That's still weird to me. The whole thing screams like just sus. I can't wrap my head around it all. I can't. But you know what? You can throw out a lot of theories, and a lot of them you have are pretty good, I have to tell you. It caught my attention for sure.
As I said before, and I said this just not even a day ago, I said, when they come back, I still don't see nobody being satisfied. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because
I
when
do.
you start having people talking about what somebody doing, they're the chemist, they're this, you want a head on a platter. And so now you're talking bad about the man like he's supplying these people with dope. They gonna want his head on a platter.
That's right. They need somebody to pin this on to make
Somebody
this
to
case
blame.
go away.
But you still got to say, if you can't prove that man poisoned them deliberately, you have to own the fact that these are grown men who chose to get high. They could have easily died across the street or downtown or in another town getting high. That's just the game.
You're right.
You are getting high and you don't know what the hell you touching.
Exactly.
Because I think it's really unfair for them to blame Jordan because he was a scientist. You don't have to be a scientist to cook up drugs.
Yeah, because someone's gonna thought, well, maybe he did something on purpose. Maybe he was upset or something. At first that was the first thing went through my mind. I heard he was a scientist. I said, well, maybe this is a personal situation, or he made something because he was angry with the guys, or a joke went too far. Because people do some weird shit like that. But then he goes into rehab. This is coming back now. I don't know. It's kind of like I'm up in the air on the situation, because in the end, it's like what I said, even if this is nefarious doing on his part, you've got to prove it.
Yeah,
That's the one thing about it. You have to be able to prove it. He
unless
did
it's an
this.
admission of guilt, you know. But then again, if you're in a rehab, I don't know how rehabs work. Do they have that same patient-client confidentiality, that clause
Of
that, you
course,
know,
it's because
lawyers?
you're getting medical treatment.
Right. So even if there was
I
some
don't
sort
even
of
have to
admission,
tell that. Nobody has to tell that he's even in there.
so that's my question. Like, so let's talk about that. So
Unless they have a clause that says if authorities come with questions, warrant, whatever, we have the right to give the information. Now, some medical places have that clause to where they're going to give you information if law enforcement inquires. They probably do, because things have changed. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially when there's some like a deceased individuals
Yeah.
involved. Yeah.
Yeah, but they'd have to have a warrant.
Yeah, they would have to have a warrant.
Wow.
But see, you can look at this in a different angle too, and say, like, why would he admit that he's going into rehab? What would he want to keep that quiet? Because that's just
he already
admitting
knew
that
he already knew everybody's getting ready to find out what they had in them.
Right, but if you wanted to stay quiet and not admit that you were even party to that, you wouldn't want to admit that you're in rehab, because then you're saying to the whole world, I have issues with this substance.
Well, we have to
abuse
also ask
problem.
ourselves, what if they did testing on him when they detained him? See,
yes.
What if they took hair follicles and different things as well?
And maybe it was an alcohol rehab. Maybe it wasn't for drugs.
I mean, that's what I said. I said
we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
But
anyway,
I do find one thing interesting. Mr. Persano isn't talking as of late, and that's very strange.
Who?
Mr. Persano, his lawyer.
Oh yeah, it's been very quiet over there.
The past couple of days.
Yeah,
it's been quiet for about a week now, because we're almost at Friday, and he hasn't done any interviews that I've seen, and I find that very strange.
What I find strange is, okay, so say you're on a bender, you go to the bathroom, you need to get a glass of water, you know, you have to eat something after a certain point in time. You're going to look out your front window, see what's going on. You see, oh, the snow is still there. You see there's a few cars out front. Oh, look, there's Joey's car and James's car. Where the hell are they at? Let's go look around and see if we can find them. And boom, he sees them out there and then panics and pretends he's sleeping in whatever the hell, and all these stories come up. That's why they keep changing. I mean, maybe that could happen too.
That's the only reason why I believe he knew that they were out there, is because he never stuck with the same story. Anybody with sense knows I cannot deviate from one version.
Correct.
It's not going to look good if I keep deviating.
Truth would never change.
The truth never changes.
It's true. That's true.
And then another thing, he had an excuse for every logical answer that was asked. You got an excuse for the dogs. You got an excuse about the cell phone.
Where the hell were the dogs at? That's my question.
You got an excuse for the messages. We don't know what was said when the girl broke into the house. See, all that is too suspect. And that's too many things.
Yeah,
you never made one phone call from your phone. Now we get information somebody was up at 2 a.m. So where is that information coming from? And what is that exactly? Phone taps, GPS, somebody was texting, on TikTok. See where we're going?
Right.
Somebody was messaging. Somebody was talking on the phone.
That could prove that he was awake. Yep.
So now we got to say, well, who was the person that was up at 2? The guys? Him? What?
Or was he and Alex texting back and forth after Alex left?
Exactly.
That's another point too. Good point, Latrice. Good point.
That might be the reason why Alex went on and got a lawyer, because he knew my foot's in this trap and they're going to find out.
Oh my God, you're right.
Right.
Because you got to remember one thing about a story. It's a version. You have to prove it or disprove it. I come back and tell you I saw 4 people left behind playing Jeopardy. Prove it.
Sorry, that cracks me up. I'm sorry, but Jeopardy, really? It has to. Listen, that story's so crazy. It's got to be true. It's got to be true.
So that's the point. They could have been geeked up. Come on, let's watch Jeopardy. You guess the questions. Let's throw some money to see who gets. It could have been. It just sounds kooky to some of us who just ain't really into Jeopardy. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah.
And playing dice. Now, no offense, but I've never known white men to play dice, to shoot dice.
When I heard it, I thought somebody made that shit up because I said that don't sound right. Just saying.
I don't think I heard that part. They said that.
I just thought somebody made it up. First thing I said, well, here goes that's an internet rumor because that don't even sound. I ain't never heard no white boys. Only white boys I know that would shoot some dice. They hang with a bunch of black men.
Right.
But some regular white guys, they ain't got really no black friend. I'm just not trying to be racist, but I ain't never heard
what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I ain't never heard of that.
I've never heard of that. I mean, I see them, at the bars and they get drunk and they're having a good time and they're outside playing cards. What is that when you throw the little bag to go in the hole? What is that? Corn pole or corn something?
Something toss. Bag toss or
they might
ring toss.
Throw some the little metal thing, horseshoes.
Horseshoes.
Play that, but not dice. Not
especially dice. I don't know. That's weird, man.
It was Yahtzee.
Maybe it was Yahtzee.
Girl, you stupid. Girl, you don't lie. We got no damn sense. You're right.
I mean, please.
Hey, you got Connect 4? I like Connect 4.
Oh my gosh.
I think I'm gonna buy me one my damn self. I like Connect 4.
Mm-hmm.
Uno cards. Come on, let's play a game of Uno. See, you don't
I
know
love Uno.
I don't know
there's
what
there's a new Uno I was playing with my friend the other day, and it's fun. It's flip Uno flip. It's so cool.
I wasn't used to all that rewind, reverse, jump on top of the roof.
Yeah. I love playing cards. But I don't know. But yeah, that's such a far-fetched story. But to me, that's probably one of I think that's the most truthful thing of the whole story, is that they were all watching Jeopardy.
you think different than most. Most people probably think that's a lie.
No, listen. If they're gonna lie, they would have said, "Oh, well, we were sitting around, think of something better." They're not. How are they gonna think of Jeopardy? Like,
you ain't gotta say that's watching TV at all. You can just say
exactly. I was just watching TV. Right. I left. The guys were watching TV, and that was that. Like, I don't know what they were watching. I just left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see the men sitting around watching Jeopardy. They're all geeked up.
I tell you what, Alex Trebek, God rest his soul, he dead. And once he saw them hit that floor, he went to running off the TV screen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They not alive. Jordan, what you getting ready to do? I couldn't do it, I'm telling you.
I feel so bad for those people.
Body. No,
but can you imagine though, like the family members, like how tore up they must be? My God.
They're gonna really be tore up if they didn't know their children were getting high. And you cannot put it all off on him. The only way you can blame Jordan is if you have proof that he did something nefarious. He sold them something, gave them something with a mix.
Or there's some internet searches and shit.
He knew it was lethal. He concocted something that was known to be lethal. Then you could come back and say, okay, it's delivered. But how you going to prove it if now you got a cousin saying that's what they do? He's known for that, and they known for getting high. So like I said, they were going to get high before Jordan even moved back here. They probably getting high before he moved back.
You're probably right about
that.
that.
Wake up at 37 getting high.
Right.
You've been doing that.
Yeah, you don't get to be almost 40 years old and start trying stuff.
Yeah.
No, but I have read stories, and I know like people that like in they talk about people, especially in the media, who have gone to rehab, quit using, and then at a party, thinking that they can still tolerate what they used to tolerate, but their body is different. You can't go. Right. And then they just boom.
And be around people get high and drink. Everybody know if you're a drinker, best you don't go around nobody that's drinking. Don't go to a party where they're drinking. Don't go to a bar. Some people don't have no self-control. You got to wait a while before getting in the element of what your vices were. That's just common sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, but not everybody has common sense though, right? I'm sorry, Patrice. Sorry.
Angela says they were all consenting adults. One stupid bad choice took their lives.
Agreed. 100%. And you know what? Here's another thing. We don't know that Jordan could have been in and out of rehab for 10 years. We don't know.
He could have what? Right?
He could have been in and out of rehab like for the last 10 years. We don't know. Maybe this was his slip up. Right. And then he's like, holy God, like that could have been me, you know, and went back. Like, we don't know what his history is, right? He could have been the innocent bystander in all of this and just got caught up in a really weird situation. And, you know,
and that's the whole point about that. Everything's about proving any type of nefarious or negligence. You got to prove
negligence, correct.
Yeah, you got to prove that he did something on purpose. He knew the young men were not alive. He ignored them and just waited, because I don't care what nobody said. It's still not adding up, all this laying around, and you don't even use your phone. 2 days, you don't never make a phone call, and you work from home.
That's weird, man.
Don't get people not focusing on. He had a job allegedly. So what? You mean to tell me you missed 2 whole days of working on your computer at the beginning of the week? That's bullshit. That's utter bullshit. So you told me about what? I got a stomach here. I mean, my stomach hurt. I got a virus. Come on, make it make sense. 2 whole days. You ain't working.
Right, but what would knock you out like that though for 2 whole days? Okay, say
we don't know
he didn't
that.
go to
Right.
We don't know, but I'm just
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but just throw that out there for a second. Okay, so say he went to bed, say 7 o'clock that morning. Say it was 7 a.m. He would have had to sleep 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. It usually takes 10 or 12 hours to knock yourself out of a really bad rip. Because I used to work at a rehab clinic. And then say it's like 15, 16, 17. By 24 hours, your system's starting to go into like withdrawal, right? So say he just hid in his bed and, you know, drank the water and barfed and went, you know, whatever, and didn't leave his room. I mean, that could be. And then maybe he finally did leave his room on the second
couch.
day.
You mean on the couch?
Oh, whatever. Yeah, I don't believe he was on the couch. I think he honestly found those guys and made up all these stories because he was scared, didn't know what to do. And, you know, but then again, maybe he didn't. We don't know. We don't know what the hell happened, right? But it's just nothing adds up. Nothing. The people out back, how they died,
it's just too many answers for me. It's just too
many questions.
Too convenient. The questions. You got missing dogs, people breaking and entering. It's just, in a real world, all this shit will still be probably rare. You understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
Yeah. In a situation where it wasn't drugs, it's just too odd.
Yeah.
Dogs are just so happy to be gone.
I know.
With a man that has dementia. Come on now.
Who has dementia?
The daddy, allegedly. That's the rumor.
Oh, Lord. Well,
I haven't heard it on the news broadcast because I only like repeating what's on the news.
So that
let's
one
say the daddy got
the
dementia. Why am I going to take my 2 dogs over with somebody with dementia? My daddy liable to put one in the motherfucking oven. I'm just saying.
Oh, God. I know, though. That don't make any sense either.
I mean, I'm just saying. Why would I do that?
It's the truth. It's bad. I know.
You know what people with dementia, they open doors, they turn stoves off. You're not going to leave your damn dogs with somebody that has dementia.
No.
That's why I said I be wanting a receipt to all this nonsense.
Right. And it was just as... Now, who is taking care of his father?
Angela says, I wonder if the only way his job wouldn't fire him would be if he went to rehab. Possibly, because his name has gotten out there. Somebody's probably recognized his name. It's national news now.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, the possibilities are endless of what the hell happened up in that house. If the walls
we do know... Oh, my God, if the walls could talk, right?
Yeah, they could talk. But I tell you what, like I told everybody, where's the homeowner? Ding, ding, ding. You selling this, you renting this. Who want to move there with 3 dead bodies and been in the backyard?
Not me.
Nobody gonna want to live there.
Right. And why did he move
I'll
out
buy
like
it I'll buy it if you take $100,000 off price tag.
Well, I mean, you know, you could just, I mean, yeah, the land's probably worth more. I mean, you could just bulldoze that house down and rebuild. Yeah. If you're an investor, you get that for a good price. But I mean, the guy that moved out, he was probably like, oh, I'm not living here. My 3 friends died in my backyard or in the house or however it happened. I'm out of here, you know, and left. Yeah. So I can see why he would move out real quick like that.
That's why I said you can flip the coin 1,000 ways.
You could.
If he's really innocent, if he has guilt, he has remorse. We don't know because we don't know Jordan. We don't even know the other guys.
No, and there's so many moving parts, right? There's so many moving parts. Like
everybody's talking on behalf of the dead man. We don't really know what they were doing, not doing. We don't know if somebody got
No.
mad, somebody had an attitude. He did want to poison the guys. We really don't know.
Right. Well, and you know what? The cause of death could have been from the cold, because if they had fentanyl in their system, that would have put them out to sleep, and then they would have just stayed there, and then their bodies would have froze up, and then
Yeah.
that would
So
have been
you
the
think
cause
they
of
went
death.
outside and then everybody fell out?
Yeah. That's one
Latrice?
theory.
I don't know. Like you said, there's so many moving parts. I just don't know.
But you ain't heard of nobody overdosing outside. That's what I'm trying to say. Not in the
No.
cold. Not 3. Maybe 1, but not 3.
No,
A
unless
lot of homeless people do, though.
earlier, is
Yeah,
that
but
they
you not listen to what I'm saying. They not homeless. They
no,
weren't
they're
homeless.
not.
No.
But if they were, they were taking all these different, they had all these different substances in their system, so they
Okay.
were
Right.
obviously using several different drugs.
Yes.
So, which is going to cause you to hallucinate.
Okay.
Mhm.
Cause
Okay.
you to, to
So we got
hallucinate.
3 hallucinating men in the cold, and they fall out and get out there in the cold.
Mm, I don't know. But then, listen, but I'll tell you what does make sense, okay? Is them all 3.
We got 3 men sweating. We're all profusely sweating. Hey, let's go get some air.
Yeah. Sat out there, lit up a cigarette, and they all die, right? And then
One after the other.
but listen, but that's more believable than this other character in the house not knowing we're out there. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I don't
you can
know.
go
I
back
just
and
say
forth with that
I'm just
chemical.
thinking of the overdoses I've heard of. It ain't no 3 outside. 3 inside, but not out. If you get my drift.
I do.
Not outside. Cold outside? Hell no. What do I want to go out there for? It's cold.
Again, what if they got his secret stash and didn't want him to smell it, that they got into it? That thought it'd be funny.
If he sleep, he ain't gonna know you in it anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I think they brought their own. I think when they arrived, they all came with their own drugs because they've been getting high. They've been snorting cocaine.
Because like I said, in the end, if we want to believe that Jordan has a drug problem, he would have to be very weak-minded to keep providing drugs to his friends for free.
Right. So
that's going to get old. That's going to get old at some point.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if I was a detective, I'd be checking his bank accounts to see what was deposited to that bank account that night. And if there were 3 deposits of an amounts of money, then we know who's, you know what I mean?
Oh, then buying the drugs.
Right.
Okay. So you think he would go to the bank that same night? I don't see that.
No. What I'm saying is you can get on your
Later
phone
on.
and transfer money from my account to your account in 3 seconds. Here you go, email transfer. Here you go, email transfer. Right? And then if this Jordan character has 3 email transfers from these 3 gentlemen here of a certain amount of money, like that's odd, right? What are the coincidences of that? So then they can connect that to him supplying the drugs. See?
Cash out payments.
So
or is he just a real nice guy? He likes to just give his friends free drugs.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Latrice said, I don't think so. Okay.
Well, yeah, because they're not with Jordan every day. And someone who likes to get high off of cocaine, I'll just be honest. My brother is a coke addict. And he's not, with his group of friends with whom he gets high with on a daily
basis. I got what you're saying.
A lot of times, he going
because they all got jobs too. They all got jobs, so that means they would have to be. If we don't really know the dynamic of the friendship with the drugs. Okay, they love sports together, then they love to get high together. So what are we saying? They beat up getting high through the week as well. Just saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. Not all the time, because they all have different lives. So I'm not meeting up with you 2-3 times out of the week to get high together. My brother goes and gets his stuff, and then he goes back home.
Because we could get high by ourselves.
Yeah, maybe if one of his partners come over or something like that, then okay, well then then they share. But
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
he,
yeah.
you know, yeah, he goes and gets
Wow.
it and goes back home, and then he goes on a bender because cocaine addicts they can they can stay awake for days at a time.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Interesting. Interesting.
Like I say, it seems like still a
But
mess.
doesn't fentanyl knock your ass out though?
Fentanyl kills you very quickly.
Yes.
That's why I said, who wants that? Because
I don't think they knew it. I don't think they.
How am I get high? How am I get high? And I just touched it and I fell out.
I don't know. I don't think they knew it was in there. Look, they could have had a joint that was laced with coke and fent.
Yeah,
They wouldn't have even known it was in there. They wouldn't have known. How are they gonna know? Let's say rip it open and you know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing I can think of. And that's why George's still alive, because he didn't toke off that joint they passed around. That's why that man's alive and those three aren't.
Mm-hmm.
That's my gut, but
yeah.
Okay.
Because when I heard the story, that was my first impression.
I want to know this. This came out last week, and I haven't heard no more about it. Where are the other people that were there? Persona said there were other people.
Thank you. I was going to ask. I was going to bring that up before, and I forgot to say it. I don't.
Well,
that's a good question. I think you're going to see people come forward.
If you got any sense, you won't.
Mm.
How you gonna look coming forward and them folks been laying out there dead? You understand what I'm saying?
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, like, if there was more people at that party, then they're.
I know what you're saying, but you got to think. But you got to think like how detectives are gonna think. How do we know that what you're telling us is the truth? That you didn't witness these people dead and then just left on out of there.
Right. Now, did this house have like a ring cam on it or anything? Was there any like thing to pick up the neighbors or?
I haven't heard nobody talk about a ring camera.
Yeah.
I thought he had a camera over the garage.
That'd be real interesting to see that footage.
Mm-hmm. That way it could show if there was movement by Jordan going in and out of the house, walking dogs, people coming in and out, something moving past 2 o'clock. See, all that would be relevant.
Yeah, it would be.
Emptying trash, taking things out.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, you know.
And whose red car was that?
You ain't gonna see that. You ain't gonna be able to see if he took something out the trash and put it in his car to take and dump somewhere else.
And you know that car that was out front of his house that was the snow was all cleared off it? Do we know whose car that was?
No, I don't.
Huh?
I said no, I don't.
Yeah. Because the other two were sitting there full of snow, right? And the other two, the truck and the other, I think there's another vehicle as well, wasn't there? There's 2 vehicles, I think, parked out front.
A truck and a car, I think.
Yeah. So I think one buddy must have came with, or maybe the wife dropped him off.
Two
came in one.
2 came in one, and 1 came in another.
Right. So those cars are parked out there, and okay, let me ask you this. Jog my memory. How many hours were those people in that house before what did the wife say they were? How long were they there for? Do you remember?
Well, I guess
almost 48 hours.
Yeah, because we don't really know what time they got to the house, because that's been conflicting, that they were gone somewhere else and got there, and then we got that they watched the game there. See, I don't even have confirmation if they were really there all night.
Right.
All day and night.
Right. And I don't know about you ladies.
Remember they went car hopping.
Right. But I don't know about you ladies, but if I was with
Alex
somebody,
is the one that gives a timeline of being there at 7, leaving at 12.
Okay. So he's got the timeline. How interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's his timeline, because he.
So that's nice and convenient too, don't you think?
Yeah, what he said was that they were already there, and he arrived over there at 7 o'clock and left at 12.
Okay.
And then you got to count the game when it actually started, because you got to remember their time is different than California time where the game took place. They're 2 hours behind, I believe. So you got to count that. You basically was coming at the game when the game was about over.
Now, did they say they were physically at a game in that area?
No, they just said they went. First, it was a party watch. Then it went to, they went somewhere else, several places. See, there's no confirmation.
Right.
Because
a game lasts at least 3.5 hours.
And I don't know.
If the game started at 4:25, because they got differences on when the game started, I keep trying to tell everybody California time is ahead of Kansas City time by at least 2 hours.
Okay.
So you got to count when the game ended. So he's coming over possibly to the game 4:33, 7:30. Game might have still been on when Alex got there. I don't know.
Right.
I just look at everything.
So what, do you think he came over to get high with the boys and then left?
Probably.
Yeah.
Because I think he got a lawyer to try to remove himself from the equation.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Now,
again, you don't have anything to hide. So what the fuck you need a lawyer for? It wasn't your house.
I'm sorry. If anything at all, I'm lawyering up. I don't care. I don't trust anybody want to point fingers at me.
I'm just saying, I know what I did and didn't do. So ain't nobody mentioning my fucking name. Why am I going to get a lawyer? You only went and got a lawyer when you thought they were going to release your name. Because you got to remember, Persona never told his name. He said, well, it's not my place to tell his name.
Right.
So I think about all that. Why am I getting a lawyer and I know I left at 12, 12:02, 12:05? For what? Ain't nobody called my name out. So what am I getting a lawyer for? Because you knew your name was getting ready to be mentioned. Because Persona said, oh, somebody else was there, a friend. So he thought, oh, shit, they're going to tell my name. So I better go get a lawyer and tell the family what I know. Ding. Stay woke.
Now, here's my question too. Like, how in the hell? Look, I'm not a jealous person. You know, I've never been a jealous in any of my relationships. But if I was married and my husband didn't come home that night, I'd be calling, and on the third, fourth call, if that man didn't answer and I had a bad feeling, I'd go try to find out where in that and how. I'm sorry, you don't know where your husband's at? None of y'all knew where
but that's the whole point. We got to know this. We got to know, do they live together or live separately? See, all those things matter.
It's true, isn't it?
Does he normally stay out late?
I thought of that.
Did he tell you where he was going? Did he give you an address of where he was going? So you have to know all those things.
That's right. I did think of that before. They didn't live together.
Common sense would tell you she didn't know where he was, or she would have found him day one.
Correct. Yeah.
They all had to really get in cahoots with Alex. Alex is, to me, the ringleader of the information.
Yeah, because the information the timeline came from him.
Yeah, he's a head knocker. He's a head knocker, right? With the time, he's a head knocker to tell you what they were doing. So shit, maybe you need to look at him. I'm just saying, I ain't trying to be funny, but how you know who to believe? When you start talking about drugs and people, everybody using drugs, why the fuck am I going to believe anybody in the story? I keeps it real. And it's not to say that people who get high can't tell the truth, but you also have to use deduction. These people got a lot to lose to be in a house with a bunch of dead folks. Come on.
And that's a good point.
And we got state laws about drugs and death. Like Tennessee. You gave me the drugs, I'm dead. Murder.
All right, but they got to connect it.
Listen to what I just said to you. I'm in your house. I'm dead. You take the charge.
Yeah, but they were in his house. They were outside, see? But they were still in his
house. Not listening. You still not listening. Who gives a fuck? Inside, outside, in the tree. Think about it. Because in the end, he still got to prove what he's telling these people is the truth. He's alive. That's the gist of the story. So I don't have to believe nothing you're telling me. Because you've got 3 dead people at your fucking house. So one door in, one door out, 1 foot in the door, 1 in the lawn, on the chair, 1 in the bathroom. What do I give a fuck? That's too suspicious. That's the reason why all of it looks fucked up. Because you got too many dead people. Had it been one person, it probably wouldn't have been a big deal.
No. And
That's
I
a
don't
lot of
know
dead folk.
if I was a detective, if I was a police officer, showed up at your house and you had 3 dead people in your backyard, I would say, listen, don't you go anywhere. Don't you go anywhere. You're not moving. You're not
That's
going
what I'm
anywhere.
saying. That's
Like,
what I'm
it's
saying. It don't
weird.
even matter about it being inside the yard or inside the house. That's just too many dead damn folks. Whether you want to believe it's drug related or not, that's still a lot of damn people to be damn dead, and you are breathing. They are not. So what the hell happened here? And how do I know you telling me the truth about I slept all day, I was doing this, I was doing that, I ain't look outside, the dogs were gone, I ain't answer my phone. It's just too coincidental. You are oblivious to the world. And it's not to say that he couldn't have been drunk or high and slept. It's just the way it looks.
I know. It looks awful.
Yeah, it looks awful.
It looks awful.
Matter of fact, it looks damn bad.
Very bad. And and that's the other thing too, you know. It's like you said earlier, we don't know how many people were up in that house when all this was going down.
Because
we might have a witness that comes
Alex
forward
had told
that
the lawyer. You remember the lawyer said last week? He said, "Oh, I've just got information that other people were there." I thought, "Oh my God, here we go. Are you serious?"
Yeah, and then and somebody else might come forward and say, "Yeah, I saw Alex there. He didn't leave at midnight. He was there till 6 o'clock in the morning." And then boom, he's lying. Why is he lying? Anybody could come forward and
That's why I said everything's about burden of proof.
Right, it is true.
Whose version do you believe?
Yep, that's right.
Because they all got a lot. They all got a lot to lose to be in a house where dead folks are. I don't care what nobody say. That's the gist of the story. You have dead people. No matter how they got dead, you have put yourself there. It's a matter of do I believe you or not.
That's right. That's right. It's a he said, she said situation. If this Jordan person and this Alex person and all the
Twilight Zone.
It's a mess.
And I'm gonna tell you something else. I'm not here to say Alex is lying, but who would you believe quicker? The one that's really in the fold, because the cousin already put him as an outsider. Jordan, stay woke.
Jordan was an outsider to the group. Yeah, I heard that too.
So you could be setting up the alibi by saying, well, he really wasn't the bestie friend. Alex was more close. Alex is the one we really know more about and like.
Right.
This is almost like high school. You hear what I'm saying?
I do hear, yeah.
And
like, he could turn like, so say Alex was the one that just, maybe he could have been out with them in the yard or in the house. He could have been that dragged them out. Like, we don't know. Like, the other fellow could have been asleep. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it all depends on if this is prosecuted. It depends on George's testimony. It depends on Alex's testimony.
And everything's going to bank on, well, like I said, what was found at the house, what's found in their system, toxicology reports, testing of hair, this and that, who all got the same amount of drugs, same type of drugs in them, CCTV footage, people coming and going. If anything that you told us don't add up to anything that's on a camera. Because if you want to stick on a lie, I ain't never leave my house. I didn't enter the trash. I ain't do nothing. If I see you coming out with bags, doing this, going back and forth, I got to ask you that main question. Number one, why is your story not matching up to the CCTV footage? Why did you give different versions to your lawyer? See, that don't make no sense. You telling the truth. You only had to tell this story one time and one time only. Yeah. There was no reason for Persona to keep being on fucking TV.
Someone had to clean up the drug, the drug residue.
Exactly. And you think I'm going to let that sit inside my garbage can or my house? Because you touch cocaine. You're going to touch cocaine at some point. What you going to do? Take the bag and just dump it down your nose?
Another thing, too, is, if
say what, Latrice? Hold on a minute. Say what, Latrice?
No, because they have to line it up.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. You think they didn't bag their hands and touch and examine their hands to see what they touched?
Exactly. Because it's going to be on their the tips of their fingers, no matter how they cut it, like they take a razor blade, and then they chop it up, line it up, and then they snort it up. So, there's going to be drug residue. There's going to be drug residue on their hands. There's going to be drug residue on the table, wherever they put it, the counter, to line it up.
Not if it was rolled. Not if it was rolled. The only person that would
Well,
have that on their hands was Jordan. And Jordan, we don't know if he was tested or not. We don't know if the police took anything off of him or, nothing like that. All we know, right now is that he left. They let him leave. He moved the hell out. He's now in rehab, and that's all the information we have on him right now. Like, do you know what I mean? So
it's not necessarily that Jordan rolled the drugs. I mean, they could have rolled their own drugs.
correct. They could have.
When people are in the house and they're smoking during a party, they've got several blunts. These new generation, they're not smoking joints. They smoking
No,
blunts,
they're
and there's several blunts being
Yeah,
passed
blunt
around
paper.
in the room. These kids, they call it, the young people now, they call it a kickback. So there's several blunts or joints being passed around in the room. So one person is not rolling out the joint or the blunt.
Yeah, and I heard too sometimes if they get really high on cocaine, they'll smoke a joint to kind of even out, right?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
My friend and her, like I said, her drug of choice, her drugs of choice was pills and cocaine. And her favorite drug was the cocaine because she would sell all of her medications. She
Oh,
sell
I
it all. And
That's
my
all.
brother
Poor
is
thing.
his drug of choice. He'll smoke weed if he does not have any cocaine. But his drug of choice.
And that's one thing I said earlier in the live earlier. People tend to go and do other drugs when their drug is not readily available. That's how people get addicted to other drugs because okay, he ain't got this. Crack smokers are now on, I'm sure, meth and fentanyl. Ain't nobody got no crack. So I need something. So somebody say, well, here I got some meth. You could try this. All right, you'll still get a good high. Okay, I'll try it. Now we on meth.
Yep.
Yeah, or ice. They've got ice.
It's that quick. It's quick.
Ice, yeah. I'm sure a lot of black people that were on cocaine and crack, they're on ice and shit right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. Ice.
Yeah.
Ice is a drug of choice now.
Yeah, I think it's ooh, I don't know.
That's scary shit.
Many people still smoking crack.
Yeah, I don't even hear nobody talking about crack. I can tell you, I said that in the live earlier. I don't even hear it mentioned. Somebody, now I did ask somebody a while back last year. I said, "Is crack still around?" And they said, "Oh yeah, it's still around." I said, "Well, I've never heard nobody talking about it."
Yeah, because most of the people now they've moved on to ice, meth, and now they've added fentanyl to it.
They all lethal. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The meth ages you 3 months. You look like you 20, 30 years older than yourself.
That's the
Skin
truth.
broke out.
Yeah, the teeth.
Get all those holes in your skin.
That's just terrible.
It's awful.
But
I feel really.
Why people keep thinking that they can get high off of fentanyl. It's gonna kill you.
Well, I know that's why I'm saying like nobody in their right mind is going to say, "Yeah, I'll take some fentanyl." You know what I mean? So it had to have been in something that somebody brought that they didn't know. That's the only thing I can think of. And if if it comes out that they're checking this man's phone or the people that passed away, God love them, their phones, and like for example, if I was at a party, I gotta call my girls the next day. Oh, you remember how stupid she was doing all that stupid shit? Oh my God, that was so funny. It's gonna be like some sort of electronic footprint of the people that called, and they're going to look at those numbers and trace them back, look at those people and say, hey, were you at that party last night? Or they leave a message. That's how you're going to connect these people to the party, right? Or maybe, somebody steps forward, but like you said, I don't, like you said, that would, like, why would anybody do that, right? You're just walking into a whole lot of mess. Like, what party? Who did?
Jordan that he heard that there were other people. There were other people there. I'm gonna assume that Jordan told him that.
Jordan told you what?
That he told his lawyer that there were other people there.
Well, yeah, Persano's the one that mentioned it. So he couldn't have got it from nobody but him.
Got it from anyone but Jordan. Just
Mhm.
like Jordan told him that that's how Alex's name came into the phone.
Yeah, right. So Jordan's been the one doing all the talking and putting people at that house.
Correct.
Now we got to wait to see who's going to be named as also a visitor.
Mm-hmm.
And who was the person that was up at 2 a.m.? Who are they referencing?
Right.
Where is this information coming from? That somebody was up at 2 a.m.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of holes in this.
That maybe they died earlier. Well, no, because one of the friends of it was a girl. She was they weren't in a relationship. They were just friends. She had texted him, and the last time she received a text from him was at 11:45 or 11:55, somewhere
Yeah,
around there.
11:55. Yeah.
They didn't die earlier. They weren't dead earlier.
So you don't really know. People trying to tie that 11:55 in to when Alex left. You don't really know. Like I tell people, you're not there. You don't know when the hell nothing happened. But now we got 2 a.m. So somebody done seen something to say somebody was up at 2. So who was up at 2? Jordan or the deceased?
Who's this Jared person Angela's talking about? I don't remember Jared. Oh, Jordan. Okay, gotcha. I got you.
One of their belongings at a mutual friends for them to give to their fam. Cops didn't search their phones. He dropped their belongings out. Why would you be dropping their belongings out? Where are you getting that from, Angela?
Yeah. Like, is that a speculation, like a theory? Tell Angela, come on up.
Why would I be giving people things? That don't sound right.
Yeah, she's saying all their belongings were still in his house. So maybe the cops never collected their things.
Maybe
that
that's
doesn't
the
make
rumors.
any sense.
That's where the rumors are coming from.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
Wallets and this and that were left. But I can't see a man taking his wallet out of his pocket.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Family member said it. Okay.
Okay. See? Why wouldn't the police take their things? Why would they? I don't understand this at all.
See, he's separating himself right there. Why you won't take the stuff to their family house?
Right.
You're their friend. You went to high school.
Yeah, and
I would take it to the mother's house. I would take it to Ricky's mama house, stepmama, dad.
Yeah.
Then I take over this to this lady's house or whatever. Because I don't know if this market is in the same place where Dave lived, but.
But why wouldn't the police collect their things? That's what I don't understand. You have, sorry.
Collected things. I said,
so what, Latrice?
Being that their phones and things were left in the house, I think the girlfriend, the fiance, said that the police collected their things.
Who? Who collected their things?
Police.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I mean, I can't imagine them not collecting them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Happy says maybe the cocaine was laced this time and nobody knew. Maybe Jordan used less than fell asleep and his friends used more and OD. I don't know. Yeah, I thought about that too.
Okay, somebody said it was mentioned when they were talking about Jordan not going to the funerals. Yeah, he wasn't gonna go do nothing. But it would have looked better.
Go to the funeral?
But it would have looked better had he done that. If the police didn't take their belongings, the right thing would have been to either let them come get it or you took it over there to them, number one. Number two, going to the funerals would have made it look like you were sincere and cared about your friends, whether they talked about you or not.
Yeah, whether they asked you to leave or not, you could
have
shown.
Now, if you got to the door and they said they didn't want you there, then that'd be different. Nobody could say you didn't try to go.
Right. Exactly. So why didn't he try to go? That's not right.
I would have went anyway. That's why you have to be present in the beginning of a crime or death. That way it shows you have some type of empathy. You start avoiding people. You ain't answering phones. You ain't talking to them. I'm going to think you know more than what you're saying. You can't. Yeah. The lawyer's doing all the talking. That shit Persona was saying don't mean nothing about he feel this, he depressed, he this. I'm going to be ever vigilant. I'm here. I'm sorry. about what happened. I love them. They're my friends. Whether the
I can't
people
believe
going
this
to
happened.
believe me or not.
Yeah. That's weird. That's really weird.
It's all messed up. But like I tell people, this is a cautionary tale of why you need to be careful the company you keep. You don't need to be getting fucking high.
Nope.
You don't know what you put in your body. You can't trust prescriptions, and that's FDA. So what you let somebody come to you tell me, here's a Molly, here's an X, here's a Xanax. Oh, you stressed out. Here, girl, take this. And next thing you know, your ass is flying around like a damn helicopter. Down.
Yeah.
You can't take other people's meds and stuff. You don't even know what you're taking.
No. I know somebody offered me once. They're like, "Oh, why don't you take this?" I was like, "Are you crazy? Are you crazy?
You better
You're my
trust
friend,
somebody.
but
You better see it come out the Advil bottle."
right." And it's like, I don't know that you don't know that you grabbed the right pill and you know what you're talking about. Like, come on.
I definitely wouldn't take nothing from somebody to get high. Hell no.
No, God, no. No, this was more like, this is take this for anxiety or something. Yeah.
Yeah, because you could right now, a person can go on the street and go buy a small little pill. They could be a blood pressure pill, and they go out here and sell it. Say, here's some eggs, here's some Molly. Only thing you're going to do is monitor your blood pressure with that pill.
or the opposite. Or the opposite. They can't afford the medication, so they get it off, the street, like Adderall or whatever the hell. And
people can sell you in it. I heard a guy talk about that last year. I told him, I said, you're gonna end up dead. You keep on fucking around giving folks shit and it ain't no dope. They want the dope. You sit up here giving them dummy pills and stuff, your ass gonna end up dead. Just keep on.
Yeah.
You're gonna be somewhere and somebody gonna do something to you.
Like in junior high when you had that one kid that was trying to smoke weed, but it was oregano.
Girl, you crazy.
Oh my God. I know you listen, everybody has that kid. Remember that kid that
where's the lasagna? That's that. Well, I'm gonna check out of here. Foxy, give me the goods before I get out of here, and then I'll let Latrice speak, and then I'm gonna check out because I'm almost 3 hours, 30 minutes.
Oh wow. Well, no, I just wanted to say, that you have a great live. Thanks for letting me come up and join the panel and hang out. Yeah.
I'm sure it's a lot because I ain't got a lot of people here tonight, so they probably on other channels listening to the 411. But I appreciate you stopping in and talking to the Queen. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. Yeah. All right. Well, let me see if I can bebop myself out of here somehow.
I'll get you out.
Okay, girl. All right. Have a great night. It's nice to meet you, Latrice.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That's Foxy. Latrice, what you got to say before we check out of here? You sleep?
I want to know what those other
substances
were. Yeah. And I just really think that like you said earlier, these men were almost 40 years old. Nobody forced them to do or try anything. They were already snorting coke.
Yeah.
It wasn't their first time snorting coke. They've been snorting coke. You know what I'm saying? They've been smoking weed. You know, if it was some type of pills in their system, okay, well, they've been doing this.
Yeah.
But you take and you start mixing all those things together. Well, hey, that's the chance you take.
Yeah.
So I feel what I feel Jordan and Alex are guilty of is negligence.
Yeah.
Because they
knew.
passed out.
They
did
kept it
not
moving.
call.
Yeah.
They didn't call 911 and get medical services out there, and then they wouldn't be caught up in all of this shit.
You're welcome, sweetheart. Yeah, and that's what I think possible. That it's negligence, that he and whomever else have knowledge that they died and covered it up, played possum and acted like he was out of it, this, that, and the other. Because in the end, everything's about a version, and you don't know what's the truth or not. You just don't know because you're not there. And so you got him talking, Alex talking. God forbid somebody else jump out the bag. You're going to be really just dumbfounded at that point. Like, okay, then now who do I believe?
Right. And also another thing, we were discussing what did Jordan think he was going to do with those bodies. And excuse me, I was just sitting here
thinking. He knew he wasn't about to go try to take them out of there and carry them out.
I was just
it's a lot of work.
That maybe I think that he knew that their family members were gonna come looking for them.
Yeah.
So he just decided to, well, hey, I'm gonna wait and let them come find them, and that way I can.
And I play like I've been out of it, busy, working,
Exactly.
sick, whatever.
Yeah.
Plausible, very plausible.
And I do know that people who are alcoholics, and once they go on that bender, then they will knock out, for days, hours at a time. But I don't think that's what happened with him. I think, he panicked, got scared, and just decided to, hey, their families are eventually going to come looking for them. So I'm just going to let them come look for them, find them dead, and I'm just going to pretend that, oh, wow, I just, I've been knocked out, da 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 da. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which
Wow.
is stupid. That's really stupid.
Yeah. But I'm sure he's not the first. If let's say that happened, he's not the first and won't be the last, because people panic when people overdose.
People do that all the time. Exactly. Sometimes you don't find them in your house, because sometimes they put them in a car.
Yeah, sometimes they take them outside, they dump them.
Dump them outside of the road somewhere.
I've seen cases of where they believe the person was they died somewhere else, and then they would discard it.
Exactly.
Especially when they find drugs in them, no physical harm to the body.
Yeah, they just take them somewhere and dump them. People do it all the time.
And if that's the case with this here, that's too much work. Two big ones and one little one.
Exactly. That was a lot of work.
And who I'm gonna get to go along with it without worrying about them telling on me, blackmailing me, so on and so forth.
Exactly.
Too much of a risk. Wow. Well, I thank you. You about to go to bed? You gonna stay up for a while?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to go in the kitchen and fixing some chili.
Some what? Chili?
Yeah.
Oh, because I gotta give you some dinner too. It's ready for me to throw it in the pan. Some fish.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you. I'll try to holler at you in a little minute after I eat.
Okay.
And we'll chop it up. Okay, thank you, Latrice.
Bye.
All right, thank you. All right, everybody. I don't know what happened in Kansas City. As most of you got the 411, cocaine was found in the systems of the men, Kansas City 3, and other substances. We got information before here recently that a cousin believes that Mr. Jordan is the proprietor of the drugs and giving the drugs. And we hear that somebody was up at 2 a.m. Don't know what that's all about. It's a hot mess still. And like I had said yesterday, my inner being must have known that something was about to drop. I said it yesterday. I said, I still got a feeling that even when the toxicology reports are rendered and the autopsies, there will still be some unhappy campers not pleased with what has been rendered. That somebody will want a head on a platter. And I believe that. Because in the end, no, I don't know what the evidence has been found inside, outside of the house, cell phones, all that. But you still have to prove malice if these family members believe this was deliberate. And as I think, with what's been said, possibly these men had problems before Jordan even returned back to Kansas City. I don't believe they just started getting high on drugs, experimenting with drugs. I think they possibly always used experimenting, and that's a question that somebody needs to finally answer. Are we talking about active users before death, functioning addicts before death, alcoholics before death? Same thing with Mr. Jordan. Functioning addict, functioning alcoholic. What's the truth? Why did he check in a rehab? Did he get wind that the bang was coming, the reports were coming out? Let me go make it look good. Let me go make myself look good. Let people think I'm sick, I'm ill. I still believe that's possibly a tactical move by his attorney to go turn himself in because they had wind that the reports were going to be released. So let me go duck and hide. You're entitled to your opinion. This is all pure speculation, but it's devious because 3 people are dead. Whether they died inside, died outside, pushed outside, dragged outside, you don't really know what's the truth. And when you're dealing with something such as drugs, you really can't expect the truth. That's the one thing people need to understand. Thank you, Foxfire. You really don't really understand. It's that when you're dealing with anything wrongdoing, nefarious deeds, why in the world would you expect the truth to be prevalent? You're doing wrong. Okay? No matter who brought the drugs, sold, bought, carried, injected, snuffed, it's wrong. So how the hell you think you're going to get to the truth for wrongdoing? It rarely happens. Everybody knows that. What they say, nothing good comes from something bad. That's why the guy was spinning all them webs to his lawyer. He knew what happened in that house. And the lawyer was stupid to spin those versions because I wouldn't have done it. Now, did he tell his lawyer what happened in that house? Possibly. When did he tell him? Don't know. Some truth, some lies. But I think he knew they were deceased and he was stuck and he could not do anything with those bodies. He was not about to go dump them anywhere because you have to worry about ring cameras and things like that. You leaving out, coming back and forth. Too risky, especially if he was inebriated himself. Now, has it been done? Of course. But he didn't do it. Is Alex involved in knowing about his friends? Possibly. Because in the end, they all had something to lose. Nobody wants to be linked to dead people, especially if it's drug related. Because they don't want to go down just in it, whether they gave the drugs or not. I don't want to be wrapped up in that. I don't want to have to keep talking to detectives. I don't want to have to go before the grand jury. I don't want to have to go sit up in hearings, have everybody, my face plastered on the news as an eyewitness to this, this, and this. I don't want that for myself. Why do you think the newsman told you he can't find Alex? In an age of modern technology, walkie-talkies, he can't be found. Why not? So you have to pay attention to the details. There's a reason he can't be found. Just like you couldn't find Jordan at first. Now he's allegedly in rehab. Don't know if that's true or not. Because that's the whole point about a story. You have to be able to verify it. And a version is just that. A version. Thank you for joining me. God bless all of you. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay warm. I will be back with more content pertaining to this subject matter and my Javon and Major story. Javon Major and Sandy Broussard and the Family Care Mortuary, bringing you more updates to that as I get it. And once again, there's updates pertaining to Rex Heuermann, more bodies, victims linked to him. The Sarah Boone, that's upcoming May, that trial. Korberger's attorneys want to move out of Lake Tahoe County to have the trial. A lot of foolishness. Good night, Pinto. Thank you. A lot of foolishness going on in the world. A whole lot. And I don't know if this family is going to get resolved, but we will see. Thank you for joining me. God bless all of you. And once again, if you'd like to donate to this great network, $BeganG 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for my guests that were here. Please check out my content from earlier pertaining to Javon Major and Miss Sandy Broussard. I had a guest who his content from his company was stolen by Mr. Major. And now Mr. Major has a private IG account because I'm sure he has seen videos and broadcast news about his arrest and Miss Broussard's arrest. You all have a wonderful weekend. God bless you. You have been listening to the Vault XL. Thank you.